I believe she sent me.
She sent an email, I responded and let her know she would be excused.
Yeah.
Hope everything was all right.
Me as well. Okay, let's go through the agenda. So resolution number one, minutes, anybody want to take it? Tim? Resolution two, the bills. No? Does anybody have questions about the bills? Why are they good one way you can score 40 minutes?
Wasn't there before. That's why we can't verify those minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Great. Okay, great. Not take bills.
okay, so we're changing that to Sean's taking one,
Okay,
Mr. Sheasley's taking two.
thank you.
All right, number three is already taken by Councilmember Raul Strau, and this is the one for the surplus equipment sales that garnered approximately 15,000.
Dave, here.
Can you grab Dave Franzek?
Dave?
Quick question.
Yeah.
Just a quick question on the option. That's already done. Those have
Yep.
already been optioned. Those have already been sold.
It hasn't been sold, there mean, the auction is closed, it has to get approved before I can let items go.
Gotcha. Fair enough.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay, number four has already been taken by Councilmember Sheasley. This is for the much ballyhooed sale of the Ellicott Creek property. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And Mr. Topolsky is in favor of this?
Yeah, talk to them last.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, number five. This one was taken by President Cook. And this is for the Erie Canal National Heritage Corridor Tourism and Infrastructure and Amenity Support Grant Program. Say that 5 times. The total project cost is $21,725. The city is requesting $77.25 in grant funding to cover the cost of materials. With the passing of this, John, the Mayor White will, I guess, direct that funding.
What do we know about this? Is
The restroom renovation project at Eastern Niagara Athletic Field.
You're up, Dave, again.
Dave?
Yeah, we get you a chair, Dave.
I just said, where the mayor sits?
There you go. There's someone else sitting there pretty soon anyway, so before shift. Number five, the 50% match for the restroom renovation project in East Niagara.
Yeah.
Is that for the bathrooms at TFC Field?
Yes.
The softball?
Yep.
And then you guys are gonna do the work for in-kind services to do that? Is that what I'm reading this?
Yeah, we're gonna do
Your
it.
labor counts as the money.
Right,
Okay, so what's that gonna get us? New bathroom,
Yeah.
new lines?
Do everything.
Whole new structure, the work?
everything,
Okay.
yeah, the plumbing shot, so.
Right, so this is gonna fix all that underground plumbing,
Yep.
the sinks, the whole
Yeah,
walls?
yep. Everything will be.
What about the electric? The electric lines for those lights are in that building, is that all included?
I don't know if that's included, but, I mean, like the switches and the on and off switches in there, but I don't believe we put that in that bid.
Okay, but that doesn't make a difference anyway, so the switch, it won't change anything, right?
Right, yeah,
Put it on a block box or something. right?
exactly.
Perfect, okay,
Beautiful.
anybody else got?
No, we'll call you back in 30
I'll
minutes.
just,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll stay by.
So, yeah, because Council President Cook wanted to sponsor this, but in her absence, I was just advised that we should change this. To make it official, so I think if we do council,
We can do it as council, right?
yeah,
that's your, so by the council, supplemental council. Yeah, so that's number five. Number six. I personally have a question about this one. Who submitted this one?
This was submitted by the mayor's office, but you may be able to speak to the treasurer about the details. I'm not sure. if Mike wrote it,
Okay with that?
yeah.
Yes, please,
Yeah.
because I just want to
It
make
was
sure.
submitted by the police chief.
It was, okay,
Correct. We lost Pet Check, our current
correct.
dog facility for dogs that we seize.
Yeah.
And, the new one, is more expensive, there's more fees involved, they don't do as much as Pet Check used to. And we budgeted to have about 2 dogs a month, and apparently right now we're getting like 5 dogs a month. And so it ran over, on the, time that the animal warden spends and on the cost for the facility.
Thank
So
you.
we have to also pay vet fees at that facility and as well as our regular monthly statement and our daily charge.
I just, personally, I hadn't spoken to the police chief and with this much movement around in his budget, I wanted to make sure he was okay with it, even though it's. The net effect is 0, but there's a lot of lines moving around.
It came from the chief himself to the mayor.
Thank you for your clarification. I will sponsor this one. Nobody has a. Objection? Number 7. Mr. Fisher, do you wanna kind of?
Yeah, so as it says with the directionals of Highland going north and south at that intersection, it's an offset 4-way intersection, it's offset by about 100 feet, 50 feet, 100 feet. They don't line up, the streets don't line up, so if you were to go west from Summit to Lapeers, you kind of have to make a slight turn. So one resident specifically, other residents that brought it to my attention, I got one person actually put their name on it for me. They wanted a sign posted on the bottom that says cross traffic does not stop, so people will stop. So they don't hit. And then I have a letter to pass around here, I printed out 1 copy. You guys can pass that around, that is from.
The increase in size helps to kind of
Highland.
stable, create a little more stability in the balance sheet, but I think for the long term,
Bottom of stop signs. This is their justification why they said it. It's a standard sign, I believe we have these in other parts of the city too. Mike's nodding to say, yep, so it's an informational sign, it's not an ordinance change. It's nothing out of the ordinary, not a heavy lift for the signal department, and we have money left in that budget.
Good question to Dave is if we have any of those left over from when we took down all those stop signs 10 years ago.
Dave,
Yeah, what was that?
Do we have any of those?
do you have any of
signs?
these style signs left, Lane? You have 2 of those style signs, Lane.
I'll have to check, I don't know offhand.
But if not, they could create a many.
Yeah, we can make
Yeah.
whatever.
No, I'm just saying, because I remember 10 years ago, we took down all the stop signs and then put a bunch of them back up.
Right.
Across traffic,
Yeah.
but I remember they all had.
We might have them
Sign on.
laying around, I'll have to check.
Oh, that's right, so this might even be no cost at that. Might have 2 signs.
I was just bringing it to your attention, and maybe it's laying around back there somewhere.
It's possible, I'll check it out
Are
tomorrow.
you talking about when the stop signs went in on Adam, came out on Adam and Fletcher and all those areas?
It was just before I had come on, and they took them all down, and then there was several accidents, and then like.
But the ones
up in
that
arms about
they
it.
took them out, the other directionals, they put this at the bottom of the sign.
Yeah.
So, so in that case, then the 2 signs that'll be quite from the budget line if necessary, because if the DPW doesn't lay around, it's no cost.
Just with traffic safety last night.
Yeah.
They would like, even though it's not an ordinance change, they would like it to go to them first.
Yeah, that's kind of sent it to them. I haven't said anything, it's except from the council president.
And if, what they said last night is that if you go to a number of other streets, and I'll give you an example, Amsterdam, every other street, there's no stop sign, so that we would, if they request again, they request a sign there.
Who's that, Amsterdam?
Amsterdam at Utica has no. It
That's
has
a
2
3 by
steps.
T.
No, that's a cross.
Is it a 4-way intersection?
Yes.
So this is not a true 4-way intersection, that's how this came about.
Can we please keep it down?
It's offset.
Right.
It's like a crazy plus sign.
No, I know,
So that's why.
I grew up here, remember?
Yeah.
Yes.
But, so that's why this intersection came up on the radar versus a typical 4-way
Right,
stop.
right.
Because as you're peeking your head out on Summit, and someone else is peeking their head out on Lapeers, and the cross traffic on Highland doesn't have it. Technically, both cars stopping on Lapeers and Summit can go at the same time, because they're not at a 4-way stop. Not that.
They just requested that stuff go through them a little bit. You know, feed through them and then come back, but I understand your point. But that's what they requested last night, that, you know, that they're involved more instead of just doing. Cause we can do anything we want, we can if we want a stop sign someplace, we can run the ordinance, resolution. So just to appease,
I'll take it in consideration.
okay, that's fine, I'm just bringing it up like they asked me this one.
Okay.
Maybe going forward, that could be. by the next council. All right,
Gonna be arguing.
I'm gonna go back to that one,
yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm going to read this letter in under comments when you do call for the resolution, but I do want to give this copy to the city clerk from the Cromwells on Highland. That is that is from them, correspondence from them.
Right.
All right.
All right, I think, number 8, the rest of these are gonna bear some discussion. I've certainly got some concerns. And I want some things answered before we go further, so. I'm gonna just ask on number 8. I don't know. How so let me ask this. Where did it come from to subtract this amount from the city attorney's salary? 1, 2, 3, 6, 30.
We don't have a city attorney, but we have a holdover. So why are we increasing salary line on a holdover line? That'll be for the mayor, whatever mayor decides to appoint a city attorney. That salary gets negotiated correct me if I'm saying this wrong. The mayor that negotiates it with the appointed city attorney would then negotiate salary line. That salary line was increased and we have a holdover city attorney. So why is there an increase in the budget line? Why would the mayor ask to put an increase in the budget line if we're not appointing anybody at the time?
Okay. And then, but it doesn't. Then to take that same exact amount and add it to the homeless initiative? We're not saving anything.
And it wasn't designed to be a savings. It was designed to say if we have $1,236 laying around. And it's budgeted for a salary line, but we don't have a person being appointed to that line. Why not do something positive with it and give it to someone like the homeless outreach?
How many homeless people do we have?
That's a great question for the homeless outreach. We don't have a representative. Is anybody here to represent them?
Well. In speaking with counterparts in North Tonawanda, they're looking at totally getting rid of this. And I don't agree with getting rid of it, but I also don't agree with adding money to it. I think we should strike that. I'm in favor of striking that increase to that.
So what about the city attorney salary? I'm gonna subtract it, or are we gonna add it back to there and leave it where it stands?
I would take it out.
So save $1,236. Yeah, I'm here for the discussion. Folks.
I just,
It's my resolution, we're gonna have to amend it. So you want, so you wanna leave the subtraction for the city attorney line and then just completely on this resolution, line out the homeless initiative addition.
correct, keep it as 5,000.
So
They didn't say that they needed more money.
I believe the only people that came to us and asked for more money was the city cemetery committee.
Yeah.
It's the only people that actually approached us.
I mean, if they certainly came and said we needed more. Then fine. But there was no indication that that was something that was needed.
Okay, so delete the A520 amendment, yes, okay. All right,
And subtracting, I don't know,
keep going.
subtracting, having the mayor adjust individual lines by $1 million.
Well, that was open for conversation, but I think I found the million, is Adam here?
Right there.
Adam, you come on over here. Questions for this. This million here. Yeah, I was looking at. General fund, personal administration, if you guys are looking at this form, it's the landscape wire, page 2. And it would be. I'm looking at this one to do the government this way. Okay. And it's professional services, I'm sorry, retirement costs. And we budgeted originally in 24, 500,000, and 25, we kicked it down to 475. And we're holding again this year at 475, but the 24 budgeted actual was $67,875.86. We were under by $432, $124.14. So that total line of 565 here under the entire lines of 1430, we spent $120,289.76. We over budgeted $444,710.24. So even if we move that line and leave the extra $44,710.24 in there, subtract the 400,000 from that line there on retirement costs A 1430-0100, is that doable?
I mean, I think it sets us up in a position where in 26 we better hope not more than 5 people retire. So there's definitely excess money built into that line. Unfortunately, in 24 we didn't have as many people retire. So there was an excess in it. But, you know, we could roll into 26 and have 10 people retire. And now you gotta pay out all the sick time and all that, and where's that money gonna come from? So yes, I agree that it was very much over budgeted in 24, but it's done intentionally to make sure we have that cushion, because the last thing you wanna do is tell somebody that we can't pay out your retirement because we got no budget for it.
What happened in 25? Do you have any idea what the actual for 25?
I gotta make some journal entries to get that current. I don't have that number
So
current.
you know how many people retired in 25 that we actually paid out on behalf of?
Let me think.
I know we had,
I got 5. What I'm coming up with. off the
we
top of my head.
paid out significant on all 5 of those
I would say anywhere from 50 to 80,000.
for each one. So you think 25's budget is gonna be 400,000? It's gonna come very close to it.
Yeah.
We have pending retirements. Shift.
Well, I mean, we know one right away, and
When that-
depending on where the landscape of the city goes, I don't know, it's hard to predict.
Right.
You know, it's,
I guess we have more than 4 people at that point.
yeah, it's between all the, you know, between every union, you know, there's 4 unions that we gotta worry about. I would definitely put that.
And all of them have a cash out option.
I mean, all of them, whether it gets converted to a true cash out and they get it in money, or it gets converted into the retirement bank, that's still gonna hit the general fund and be set up into a separate fund to fund their medical operations. That's no longer the city's money. You know what I mean? Whether it's set up for a medical reimbursement for them, or whether it's set up as a true cash that we're just giving them the cash, that's no longer the city's money at that point. So it's been moved into another fund, set up to pay for the retiree health insurance. And then the general fund will pay for the retirees' health insurance and then be reimbursed from the other fund for their premium every month until their depletion is gone. So your retirement cost is still gonna hit you in your current year.
And just to make a point on all of that, that kind of goes back to my resolution and point I've been making for years, the continual depletion of the reserve fund. So if you were willing to advise by removing that $500,000 out of that line, and then we have to hit the reserve fund for it, we won't have it in. If we've already depleted it with the $3.4 million plus $1 million, puts us below what the fund balance wants us to have, having 2 months cash flow coverage message for 2 months. Watch out, $30 million. So I mean, you're just running, I understand where you're coming from, and that's a possibility, but you're still gambling on city money to say they won't spend that kind of money. But if we do, we're gonna take it out of the reserve balance and it's not accounted for, so we're gonna deplete that reserve.
But if we did that, I'm trying to stop here, if we do remove that. And what he's saying is we're still pulling 3.4 million on the general fund. We're really not, because this money will be set aside back into the general fund. So if we amended this by 400,000 right now, we're not taking 3.4 million on the general fund now, we're only taking 3. And then we're gonna go to my next page and continue this down the line.
We're only taking 3 potentially.
Potentially.
Because if it comes over,
Then we have to go back in, but if we don't, then the budgeted line won't be 3.4 million out of the general fund as we said here. We'll be at 90,000 if we're sticking with killing the reassessment project this year, we don't need to reassess. And then we're at 400,000 if we amend this line to go 44,000 over 2024's budgeted line.
Turn the TV off. I needed a rest.
See what else we can find.
So
And then
what are you looking to cut it to then?
What do I look to cut to?
Yeah.
I had to add these numbers together, 122,8976 plus 44,710, so if I did roughly 164. We would reduce it from 475 to
175, 300K cut.
that's what we have.
I mean, that's what it sounds like is coming out of yours. For me,
Well, I would-
I like the 475 numbers, so that if we run into that position, I have the money to pay out a retiree. If that money goes dry, I'm gonna have to come to council for a resolution to amend
general
where I can pay that retiree.
But then it almost seems like more, the way you described it almost seems like more accountability, where you're saying, if the cemetery committee buys some cigars, gives you the receipt, you have to you receive it and review it. Well, we give you 175 to pay out the retirees and it goes over that, then you have to come to the council and say, I'm over that 175 and this is why. It's almost like a fail safe.
I mean, it's contractual, so I mean, I guess, I mean, if you wanna go
I mean, I
that.
guess the other side then is 10 people can retire next year, and we're only budgeting for $400,000. So I mean, you're looking at it either way. And just to make the point, these these things are in tandem with mine. I mean, not to interrupt your stuff, but you know, I'm proposing raising the tax levy, raising the rate up by 10%, over 2%, so full 10%. But if there are significant cuts, that number, I think we should adjust accordingly so that we're reducing the tax burden to the city. So that's why I seconded yours, so we can make some cuts here that we can look at what I'm looking to remove from the allocation head to be less of a burden to the city. So anything that we agree on, I think this is for the benefit of all of us, anything that we can agree on out of Councilman Fisher's suggestions will lessen my adjustments on that one. Thankfully, we have the city attorney here to do that.
I'm not at all comfortable. I know what the bill situation is at my house. I am not at all comfortable putting 10%. Not at all. Not at all. This is kitchen table economics, right? Sure. If we don't have enough coming in, then we have to reduce what we're paying out.
Sure, but what is
Yeah.
that reduction of what we're taking out? Gonna affect on services and everything else.
Well,
Again,
you know what?
I'm all for making
Here's the
some
thing,
significant cuts.
when I don't have it coming in, Netflix goes,
Sure.
Hulu goes, cable goes. I try to start turning off lights like a madman in my house.
Sure, but
The
in
city
your
needs to
house,
start doing
you,
it.
you can cut your Netflix, you can cut your, you can cut those other things. You can't cut your water bill, can't cut your electrical bill, you can't cut your mortgage. So likewise, in our budget, we're looking at 80% of the budget that are fixed costs.
I agree, but at some point, at some point, the realization is gonna have to be. These are the services that we're used to. And this is what they cost, so this is what the taxes are going to be. Or. Those services are not worth it anymore, we have to take them off. And if that means reducing working people, if that means reducing staff, then we have to be able to tell
That's
people
what it
that.
For it not to do, like, that's what it means.
Then that's what it's time to do.
But therein lies the problem is the contracts have staffing minimums. So to cut those lines by X%, which results in reducing staffing, I mean, we can't even reduce cost by attrition because there's minimum staffing built into contracts. And unless those contracts are reopened, we could be facing more of a cost in arbitration and.
Not reopened, but some of them are coming due in 26. Sure. And we have a new mayor sitting there that's gonna be negotiating this. So that's why, you know, you get my expression, kick the can down the road. That's why you gotta kick this down the road where we don't have a 10.8% increase and have the next mayor come in and make those decisions. And then you two are gonna be replaced with 2 other new council members. And then I don't wanna cut this our questionnaire here, we're gonna get back to, I asked the city attorney this. There's a split 2-2 between the 4 council members. Council president's usually the tiebreaker. In the absence of the council president, who's the tiebreaker?
It takes 4 votes to pass.
Well, if it fails 2-2. Oh, you're saying to pass the budget takes 4 votes?
Takes 4 votes.
No, it's up. So, but what about like the tax increase? Say we don't have 4, it automatically fails?
Correct.
Oh,
It's a super majority to the budget.
there you go, you already fell. You're 10.8, we don't, that's a moot point now. He already said he's out, I'm out. There you go. There's 2-2 right there. That's a failed budget right there on that one.
Budget super.
You already skipped the number 9. Number nine's already done.
I'm not saying it's failed yet. I think if we make these adjustments and cut, that 10% could be 7%. If we're willing to make these cuts and without, again, if we pass along, gave me some numbers on a 1%, 2%.
I don't know what Dave's flexibility is. I'm not going with the tax cap. So if it's not at the 2%, whatever.
Well, you're not willing to go over the tax
I'm
cap.
not going with the tax cap. So I don't know where Dave stands. If Dave's willing to be flexible with a 7% over a 10%, but even so, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. Even with me as a no, 3-1, we're it's dead, right? Because we don't have the council president.
And we can't table anything because this is passed tonight for the charter.
Correct.
I'm comfortable with 4 to 5. But,
But we need all 4 of us to.
yeah, I mean, that's.
I love it. I don't know what you could possibly say to me to get me to say, remove the tax cap.
Pass a 30% tax cap next year when you're on the council.
Or have the next mayor come in and actually do his job.
Yeah, but you got the whole year. You have the whole year, because he's not gonna do anything in regards to the contracts until January 27. Cause he has to negotiate all that. This is, we're gonna be laying with this for the next full year. And if we don't do anything, I don't know where the hell we're gonna get the money.
But this budget will be budgeted for the next full year. This conversation we're having now. will be-
I agree, but we're under those contracts. We're still under the old contracts of minimum staffing, which is kicking the shit out of us.
What are the contracts? Sorry, you
Police and fire are gonna be on, they'll be up for. How do we gonna phrase it, 1/1/27, and then
27. So
CTA
you're-
will be, CTA is up 1/1/28, and then CSC is up 1/1/29. They were given from 24, they were given.
When's
3,
TFD
3,
up?
4, and 5.
Yeah, so there's no.
TFD up, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
The fire is, same as the police, 1/1.
Okay, right, I mean,
One,
that's,
one,
that's a
27.
lot
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
That's when they.
So they given 24, 25, and
I
26.
agree with them.
And then CTA was given 24, 25, 26, 27, and then CSCA was given 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28.
Correct me if you're wrong, PD and fire expire 1/1/27. Contract negotiations usually start 6 months prior, so you're talking about June of
Sometimes.
26. Like time to that, so
Yeah.
sometime this summer,
Mhm.
our new mayor will be negotiating contracts with PD and F.
Right.
Which means-
That won't take effect for.
Until 1/1/27, which will be for the 27 budget, which means
Right.
the next council sitting here next November of 26 will have all these decisions based on what the new mayor negotiates in those contracts. And if he breaks the minimum staffing, if he changes these numbers, that is all gonna be decided in 26. We're just trying to get to 26 right.
Yeah, but that's all we're doing is just kicking the shit we've had for the last 2 years that I've been on, down the road again. That's, I mean, we gotta do something. I agree with not going over cap, that's my promise, but we gotta get up there, we gotta get a little bit more money to deal with. Because we're at the edge, and if we're not, how many feet to the edge?
It's not magic, it's a fiscal cliff.
Yeah,
We're
right,
at the.
okay,
This
I mean,
3.4 million,
that's-
that's a million
that's-
people puts us
Right.
below what the minimum should be for the fund balance.
with the
There
27,
could be something that comes up.
Yeah.
We've gotten lucky over the past couple of
Right.
years, it's not magic, but we've had a couple of one-shot
Mm-hmm.
instances over the past 3 years that's kept that stable. We've had our, we had it,
we
we had a
hope we got it
surprise
down
change
here.
in county taxes that was given to us and taken away from Buffalo.
Right,
I mean, you don't know, with Buffalo State, they could be taking it away from us next year and giving it to Buffalo.
right, yeah.
So we can't
That's
kind
the
of,
problem. If this was done with the contracts with police and fire, then it's a different story.
But those contracts are coming up. They're gonna be having those conversations starting in June-ish.
We gotta
And
pay for
then-
those right now, next year again.
But that's in this budget. That's what we're negotiating. That's what we're paying for.
Right.
to pay for that in this budget, we're taking $3.4 million.
Yeah, we haven't got it. But according to what Adam and I have just spitballed out loud, is we're up to 390,000 in savings. So we're already into that 3.4 million. We're already at 2.9 million. We're already, and we're coming down.
Let's hear what's the rest.
So we got,
See where we go.
so if we're going with this, I got 90,000 on the assessment going from 100 down to 10. We're talking line 8/14/30/0100 line going 475 down to 300. I'm sorry, down to 175, saving 300, so there's 390,000. And then. That's one of our favorites over here. Hospital insurance line. A 9060-0800.
Yeah.
24 budgeted, 4.25 million. 25 budgeted, 4.35 million. 26 budgeted was 5.125 million for an increase of 775,900. In 2024, the actual was 4.514 million. The 26 line is 611,245,000 more than the actual spent. So even if we decreased it by 600,000, still allowing the 4.525 million to increase by 175,900. You can still subtract 600,000 from that line, still be in the mid $4.6-4.7 million range to cover those lines.
That's great. That number comes directly from Assured Partners, who is our health insurance broker for the Highmark rate. So that's one big plug number that I respect from them. And then the other piece of that is the United Healthcare. I take the number of members times a monthly rate times 12 months a year and add that in. So, I mean, I would not cut anything from that line at all. I can stand on that line very firmly. It might have been a little under budgeted in 25. We may have put, you know, 200 or 300 more thousand into there to give you a little more smooth trend on it. But outside of that factor, I would not touch that line. I would not drop it, and that's a line I'm pretty hard to step.
I'm leaving $775,000, almost $1 million increase.
Like I said, so maybe last year's was under budgeted by about 200, so then you would have seen a 400 increase and then another $500,000 increase to get your trend on a budgetary.
So you don't think we can deduct?
I would not take anything out of that number, no,
What happens if we do and we're wrong?
we can't pay our health insurance.
Well, can we amend the budget again and pull off the reserve fund and readjust?
Then why are we even gonna go through this to try to get as close as we can? I'm telling you, this is as close as I can predict the number is for 2026, and you're gonna cut it just to add it back in 26. Why are we going through a budget at all?
Right.
If we're just gonna change it next year. This is us trying to plan our expenses for next year. This isn't just gonna like, oh, we wanna get to this goal. No, this is us trying to plan what we are gonna spend in 2026. And I'm telling you, that number right now is pretty damn accurate.
So why did we go up 800,000?
Like I said, I think 25 is a little short. I think we probably should have had a little bit more budgeted into 25.
More than 100,000.
Maybe 200 or 300, but you know what I mean? So then you'd be at 4,250, you would go to 4,550, and you go to 5,1. So you'd have a 400 and then a 600. And with the new cost of these prescription drugs, I always try to not talk about health insurance as much as I can because I don't know where the HIPAA lines are. But we've seen crazy cost increase on a lot of these new drugs.
Our high markets, they're controlling the base much of the market.
A lot of, from what our brokers have told us, a lot of the increase in costs of these RX drugs is that they're so new. And I think it's 6 or 7 years that these drugs get a patent on. So basically these drug companies make as much money as they can in these first 6 to 7 years, and then you get a generic. And until that generic comes out, we have to pay that high RX cost. So with a lot of these new drugs that have come out over the last couple of years, without naming names of them, because I don't want to reveal anything, you know, but I think, you know, some people in the room might have ideas of the drugs I'm hinting at.
Really?
You know, we've seen a huge increase in RX cost.
So are we committed to Highmark? Are we committed to the two companies you said?
Contractually,
Are we locked in? I gotta know
we had independent health at one point, right?
This is
Chisel, I think this is,
right.
yeah, I'll defer to Chisel on this, because, you know, he's been around the block with changing carriers. I mean, that's. Right, there's a lot of union questions, a lot of headache.
Next year.
Because going back to what Jim was saying.
And I would say that Assured does put our plans to market, so I would think Highmark is probably giving us the best rate on that note too.
So going with it, what Jim was saying though about opening up the contracts. 2026, they're gonna start negotiating 27. That is a possibility that the mayor could ask for the unions to start paying more in healthcare, and that would change this number.
They
would-
must pay more for healthcare.
But that's not gonna take
Here's
effect
the
till
thing.
27.
Here's the thing,
Right, but it will change that number for the 27.
he
Correct.
got walked all over.
Yeah.
Walked all over. $500 a year for a family plan is a joke. It should be 500 a month for a family plan, times every employee. That's what it should have been, that's what it should have been. You got walked on. Especially with costs like that. The city can't afford this anymore, can't afford this stuff.
I'm not disagreeing with you, seeing an $800,000 increase on a budget line. Going, we should like cut some of it, and we got the city treasurer screaming at me over it and going, you can't touch that line, and it's going, well, how do we increase 800,000 in
You
one
don't
year?
increase it, you
Because there was no
increase,
increase in
contribution,
Increased.
you increase contribution.
correct, there's no more increased contribution,
Correct.
correct.
You're not gonna ever decrease that healthcare line from these healthcare companies?
Not true. I mean,
Well,
until-
healthcare companies aren't gonna.
Well,
charge
so,
us.
so where you're gonna see this line eventually start to fall off is the idea that we don't have lifetime health anymore. So as people, you know, unfortunately pass away that are retired, we no longer have to pay for those people anymore. And you're gonna start seeing that savings as the retirees, because I mean, we're still insuring more retirees than active.
What about the retirees that come from Medicare or Medicaid eligible?
That's what I'm talking about with the United Healthcare.
Oh,
cost.
they switch
Yeah.
from.
So what
Highmark
happens when on that is they have to pick up Medicare A and B. And then the C and D is picked up by the city to give them an equivalent plan of what they would be if they had Highmark, so the city can save the money by having them go on the federal plan instead of city. saves the city a lot of money. Like a lot of money.
A lot.
I'm talking active.
But you're talking active going forward for the future. Yes, but we're just talking, where can we make
There
our
is,
somebody's
there is
spend?
there is no world where family healthcare pays $500 a year. There is no world where that is acceptable.
The state's roughly 300 bi-weekly.
It's,
Yeah, it's
You're
very
easy.
six there.
even the best plans are paying $400 with family plan.
Well, yes. What are we breaking for it?
He's checking on I'm arguing that the charter doesn't show that that's a super majority vote.
For a budget resolution? What are you showing? Simple majority, simple majority. Back to my original question, when we wait for the city attorney to show back up on a simple majority, if we tie 2-2. And we don't have a council president tiebreaker, we don't have a mayor tiebreaker, where do we go from a 2-2?
The mayor doesn't type or anything, so just council, but it fails most of the time. But the majority vote is. Fine. And again, I'd like to stop. Where we.
What else we got?
State retirement employee B, top line on that page, it's
What number?
9010-08. Another increase of 413,000.
Number given to me directly by the state of New York.
That's from the comptroller's office, we thought.
Yep, pull it right off my nice portal. Same number last year. I wouldn't touch it.
I'm gonna tell you, back to the hospital insurance line. I'm willing to gamble on that one and reduce it from 775,900 to 675,900. Move it down 100,000. Which, that hospital line was 9060-0800.
Yeah, so
You're showing an increase of 775,900.
yes,
I'd like to show it as an increase of 675,900.
so you're gonna change the line from 5.145 million to
0.025, yeah, 9. Pretty good looking. I got 5.125900. So you're showing 5.125900.
Boy, number, right?
The 26 budget.
96,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay, yeah,
And
sorry.
then go to 5.025900.
What you're saying,
Right, remove that, so that gives you
okay,
490,000. You keep saying 3.4 million. So you take the 490,000 off, we're under 3 million, so now you're back. You're high 2.9 million on the borrowing from the general fund. But that kicks our can into 26. That gives the new mayor time to negotiate 2 major contracts. That gives time for Adam to come in and say, to negotiate the contracts, look at this section of healthcare for 27, because this is the 26 budget, 27 budget, all gonna be during those negotiation periods. It's all gonna be what's going forward.
yeah, but if you still go. You're still gonna be below the fund balance minimum, with that total pool 1.2 million. Even cutting it,
It's up to 600,000, but we get 1.2 million, we're pulling from the general fund.
One of the worst case scenarios where we have to allocate.
Yeah,
So
so
whether we're
6.1
buying it,
million
whether we're
dollars.
allowing it in-kind services. Whether we have something that's already there, we have to.
A lot, you're saying a lot of assignment, so you're saying with 2 million out of the general. Or if we get my number down to 2.9 million, plus the core pool. Fill in or whatever you wanna call it,
Yeah, so you're looking at 4.1,
4.1, and you're saying that's still gonna bring us down below where we're required to be,
and puts pretty close,
which is 40% of our. 20% of our expenses is what we're supposed to be,
60%,
60%,
yeah,
40% is the max,
yes,
60 is the minimum.
right,
So we're gonna, so our general fund will be holding an unreserved, ready to spend fund, we'll be holding somewhere around 16%, so we'd be down almost a minimum.
yeah, right about that, right, okay.
And
They know
something major
that's-
goes on, then we're screwed.
But without any of these cuts showing here, we're already 3.4 million puts us already below that 16%. Plus go to.
I mean, I think, I mean, is that
We
the,
can do it.
do we have any more cuts, do you have any more cuts that you have suggestions on, anybody, I mean,
Well, Jim, I know it's pennies, but Jim brought up is yours on here for the 7,500?
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's another 70, so, we're almost at a full 4,000, or almost at a full 500,000.
Which is fine, we're still looking at a $3 million hole.
Depending on our back at, we're looking at $500,000, which is the 2.7, then I'm looking at to 2.5.
No. The 2 points, yes, the fund balance, it would go, no, yes, yes.
I heard,
Yes,
talking about
yeah, yeah,
increasing the levy,
right,
increasing the tax rate, then we could actually come back and look at it.
right,
Uh,
go to two, right.
So, but, I mean, we can also discuss the things we've knocked around over the years, civil service. I mean, I know that's only $30,000 or so, but that's the number we put out there, and that's a good reason to.
Great reason to.
Wheeler. What is the cost savings that goes into? I mean, it's not a deal. Wheeler, fire.
Is that a number we're going to discuss right now to amend that budget, or is it
Well,
something?
I mean, is that a number that gets us a little bit closer? If we cut the lines to Wheeler, then we have to close it. They have to move stuff out of there, they don't staff it. I mean, it could also change the staffing number. Is it 5-man or 6-man that we're at right now? 6-man, but that's because it's in addition to that extra location. So I mean, that ties into that. You start cutting those lines. I mean, these are difficult decisions, they're not ideal, but if we're looking to cut. How much, how are we looking to get to $1 million? We're looking to get to $1 million. My 2.7 is now 1.7, which takes you from a 10.2 down to what, 7%?
Your Mike don't know some good words for you, just get that stuff out of me.
Huh?
The better what Mike comes up with some good words for you on simple
I
majority,
understand.
you only get 7.
I understand that.
Dave, I
That's
don't know if
discussion
Dave's
that
gonna
we
get
need to have.
that. Dave says he's at a 4, so. You start cutting, get out the scissors. They're looking, I'm looking for the civil service line you were just talking.
What other non-essential services can we do?
For me,
Yeah, your opinion.
I mean, if you're gonna talk non-essential, I mean, a lot of people aren't gonna wanna hear these, but I'm not afraid to say it though.
Yeah, let's
Your senior center, your memorial flags. Was like $1,900, your youth board cut completely, closed color pool, street lights, we could just stop. Fixing about half of them or so, just light up the main streets, get rid of your side street lights, don't have to pay to maintain them, don't have to pay to light the thing up. Your plowing contract, we're only salt main roads and cross streets, we're not gonna salt every road. We'll get to Flyer Street when we get to it, we're not gonna call guys in on overtime. The homeless task force for 5K, the community parks cameras for 50K, the city cemetery for 5K. The volunteer firefighter maintenance contracts for 30K, the police awards, the fire awards.
Those are.
There's $5 grand for economic development, and I had a $7 grand, we needed a new mailing machine here at City Hall. That I had budgeted for, but we could probably get away with our mailing machine, but if the bills get mailed out late. That'll be wild. As well as police budgeted for a 20K new TV in here too. That
Police or
we
fire?
could Get rid of that, or sorry, fire. I stand corrected, it was fire. But that's what I came up with when I saw, you know, the idea of $1 million, and I don't think they even got to the $1 million. You know,
What was your rough, what's your rough estimate on?
oh, I just pulled out what the budget lines were worth. I didn't pull out where I would go on a cut for them because, you know what I mean? Like, so like a senior center, we budgeted 54 grand total.
Yeah.
We probably still have to leave 5 or 10 grand to make sure we can pay the electric and the gas until we sell the building or get rid of it or do something with it. You know, same thing with, you know, for pool, you'd probably still have to leave the same kind of 5, 10 grand around to maintain the building. So it just doesn't purely deteriorate. You know, youth bureau, I know there's some discussion back and forth whether we need it or not, so whether you cut it from 5 grand down to 1,000 just to say we have it still. You know, that's something that can actually happen. You know, the street lights, I haven't really gone down the road to see how many we could get rid of, and you know, there's an analysis to be done there. I mean, the other big one that's always been thrown around is to get rid of garbage and have it go through prioritized. I mean, that's an $820,000 budget line plus the employee benefits, there's your $1 million cut right there. But now you're gonna tell the resident, you gotta call WM or, you know,
It
any
doesn't
waste
say the
management or any of that to get your garbage picked
It
up.
doesn't say the.
You know what I mean? And I know this isn't things that people wanna hear, but that's the type of budget we're looking at here. We are structurally off.
So I guess, hang on 1 second, so I guess that's what I wanted to hear. Because if all of those things are worth paying taxes for, then let's pass this budget. If those things are worth it to the residents, the senior center, the pool, garbage pickup, salting, lights, all that. Sorry, I just said stuff, I saw this one. So let's pass the budget. as is, let's move on.
Well, not as is, I still want to reduce a little bit of that money to put.
But
some
that's the
pressure.
thing, that's what I'm saying. If those things are not worth paying for. And that's what we can get rid of, then let's do it. If that's what residents want, lower taxes over services, then let's give them lower taxes.
So,
Screw the
I want
services.
to debate Adam on this one. When you talk about privatizing sanitation, you said that could be almost $1 million in itself with salaries and everything else. I read the sanitation, not sanitation, the DPW, CETA contract. If I remember, I'm paraphrasing, so please someone feel free to correct me on this one. Once you kill sanitation and go to waste management, you still have to guarantee those people their jobs. They don't lose their jobs. They get absorbed back into DPW. You're not saving anything on the salary line.
No, and then the residents have to pay out of pocket.
Yeah, and then you can attrition.
And it goes up every year.
But until you attrition it, you're still maintaining that line. You're not, there's no savings on sanitation. There's no savings on privatizing sanitation based on how the contract is written.
Also ask for studies,
As for what?
ask for a study or a price,
If you were to go to waste management, I'm sorry, what?
I'm not willing to do that.
No, I'm not willing to do it either, but I'm saying is we spit all these numbers, when you look at $1 million and you say, well, privatizing sanitation saves you $1 million. It technically doesn't based on the collective bargaining agreement, because we still have to you still have to pay their healthcare, you still have to pay for these employees. You can try to go for the attrition route, but if you look at DPW's seniority roster lately, I got 10, 15 years on, you're talking another 15 years before people start to retire. And when they just get diverted from sanitation, working 5 AM to noon or whatever they are working, they gotta go work the parks for 7 to 3 and mow lawns. Okay, you can correct me if I'm wrong, in their union contract, you can't cut their salary. You can't say, well, you're going from sanitation line out of the park, so we can cut you 10 grand.
Right, but you also wouldn't have to maintain packers, you wouldn't have to pay tipping fees, you wouldn't have to pay, there's a lot of other factors. There's a lot of other factors that go
But
into
then
that.
with that cost, that recycling as well.
I would say if you're gonna get rid of sanitation, you get rid of sanitation. I'm not
But
saying
then-
that's the idea, and I don't make that decision, right?
Then the
You guys
realization-
here at the table are the decision makers.
The realization has to be then this is what it costs to run the city. What's in this budget is what it costs to run the city.
And if
And
that's
keep
the
everybody
fact,
where they
then-
want.
and if that's the fact, then how are we gonna pay for that?
That's exactly right. There's one way to pay for it.
What's that?
Raise the taxes. So you're either gonna get rid of people and rid of services, or you're going to pay for them. You can't have it both ways.
Right. And I mean, I painted the scary picture of, if you think about one employee is about $150,000 on the high side, right? Typically, you're gonna get rid of your lower employee to your top employee first. But, you're gonna add EB costs, whatever, so we're gonna 150 on the high side, right? So 2 employees would be $300,000. 20 employees would be your $3 million cut.
Ballpark, yeah. What percent on the tax rate of, what would that cost the home?
So I actually put it.
You have that? We got the wrong one, the other one's.
So that's the levy, this is the one that's like per house, if you wanna look at the different levies and the different assessed values. You can kind of follow the chart along, across the top has your assessed values, and then if you follow down the column there. You can kind of connect the two and say, okay, if I have a $200,000 house.
$1,000 house, 1% is $30.47.
Right, and then what's the 25% on all the way on the bottom there?
At 200 is $651.19.
$200,000 house assessed. You raised the taxes
25.
25% to cover this, we didn't take anything out of the general.
Yeah,
You said that again, 600,
651.19.
651.19, divide that by 12 months, you're talking over a $50 a month.
No, that's your total.
That's total for the year.
no, that's the total increase for the year.
For the year.
651, you divide that by 12 months, that's how much each person would pay monthly, so they're gonna pay over $50-something a month more. Which means you're canceling Netflix for $9.99, you're canceling all these different things that,
But we're getting our streets plowed, and we're having street lights, and we're having garbage
Heavy
pickup,
pickup.
and we're having fully staffed
2.5
fire,
minute
police,
response
DPW. They're healthy,
Color pool, senior center.
colorful senior center.
You go back to your
Is it-
5% of the $200,000 house is $133.92. $133.92.
A year.
So it's $10 a month.
So let's try to get somewhere in the middle.
it's $11 now. $11 a month. So what's the 2%, the tax cap?
2% the city gives you money back,
56,
50 cents a month.
33.
Yes, it's actually a 2%, 2.6%.
So 3% is 82.19.
A year.
Yeah.
Well, so where will people be happy?
It won't be.
I mean, there's
If they raise.
So that's just exactly it, we're damned if we do it, we're damned if we don't.
No, exactly. I
But
tell you the
I
truth,
think
Chris,
we have to err on the side of the future.
I look at 5%, which I don't think is that. And I have a lot of people in my area that are on limited income, 2 people told me to get something else.
But we're also looking at a
But, you know,
cost of inflation every year, it's about 5%,
Right.
2% tax cap. We're still raising the tax, we raise the taxes every year. And we've taken money out of the reserve balance to do that.
Right.
Right now, we're looking at taking out 3.5 million out of the reserve fund that feeds with the bare minimum. If a pumping station goes down, it's $1 million. If the power, the backup power goes down for city hall, and how much is that? If you know, a street lights go down, completely die-ins that we're not gonna repair or maintain. And that, we were talking $1 million for a set of street lights. And that's the cost of things. So if we don't have that in the general fund and something happens, we could bond it and we're gonna pay interest on it.
So how do we get down to 1.75 million out of the reserve fund, split in there? Just for giggles.
it's a giggles.
Well, 1.75 by looking at an increase in the tax levy by 1.75, so what does that bring it down to? 7%, 7.5% increase, or what? If we cut it in half,
So what's,
the appropriation.
Oh, so instead of going 3.5 to go to like a 1.7, looking at 13%.
A 13% tax increase. And
what
cutting
is that
any
on-
of those,
what is that on the 200,000?
We got 340.83 a year.
A year?
It'll be a month. Less than the 2.
30 would be 360.
now let's look at. What did we decide that's really realistic that we could cut? I mean,
You're talking about kind of one, I just scrambled here to find $490,000. That was fighting me on that because of healthcare. You wanna find 1.75 million sitting here?
I'm not saying I want to find 1.75, but I want to see. I don't think it's fair to pass a tax increase on the taxpayers unless we're tightening our belt as well as the city. It's just not a fair trade. You're telling the city that they're covering it all. I don't think they can afford it. We also can't afford to take $3.4 million. This would be $10 million over 4 years. That's a lot of money to take out of the reserves. Again, we've been lucky, it's stable. We're facing the fiscal cliff with this. So. If you guys aren't willing to go to 10.5%, where are you comfortable with? And where are we gonna get to that number with any kind of significant cuts in the budget? I mean, his $7,000 mail machine is pennies on that.
Why don't we go through every line and say 10% reduction of every line?
Can we do that? So, add it. I was gonna say, add it.
Still won't get there.
We tried that last year. We tried to do 5% last year, and guys, people couldn't get there. We tried to go through that exercise of, oh, let's cut 5% from every department. We tried that last year. And people couldn't get close. I mean, our budget is structurally off. I mean, I can run some quick numbers if you want to hear them.
Yes.
On the expense side, let me find my printout of that. So I totaled up our employee costs. So your salary, health insurance, state retirement, social security, the others, which are like your clothing allowance, workers' comp, we have a dental vision incentive, and then like health insurance waivers. And that totals at about 24.5 million, which is 79.3% of the total budget. The other kind of,
Was 79.3.
yeah, and I can make copies of this.
That's okay, but that's
too.
79.3, that's contractual.
Yeah, contractual between, retiree health insurance, salary, state retirement is, we gotta pay that to the state, they set that number. Social security is just, the 7 is of the total salary line. And then, yeah, so that's the 24.5 million
So just say 80% of our budget is on.
is right there. And then, well, I got even more for you because if you don't want, so that's if you don't want to talk about cut personnel. If you want to pay our debt, that's another 2.1 million. So that's 6.82% of our budget. So you're looking at like 86% of our budget is pretty structurally fixed. So then what that also leaves you is we're at like I think a $30.9 million total budget roughly. So if you back out, that those two two big category of costs, that leaves you about $4.2 million. And that pays for our liability insurance, our maintenance contracts, the senior center, youth court, parks department. Maintaining our buildings, maintaining our vehicles, buying new police vehicles, all of those types of costs.
The cost to
So,
run the city.
yeah, and you're gonna try to cut 3.5 million out of that 4.2 number to balance the budget.
Be locked heat in at 6.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty structurally that the salaries and, we pay to have high quality employees and high quality services. And
I thought it was bottom of the barrel.
You remember hearing this? I do remember.
Well, that just gives us,
Run all.
that just gives it, put us basically into a corner even.
And I mean, if you want me to keep going.
Listen, the heart attack's coming either way, so keep going.
All right, so if you want the other side of it to the revenues, right?
Get the-
So we have three major sources of revenue, right? Our tax levy, state aid, and Erie County sales tax. Our sales tax is about $6 million, which is 21.5% of our total revenue. Councilman Rothschild had some concerns in the beginning of the year that he's heard around that number is gonna decline. And we should be, concerned that number might drop. The city, fortunately, we saw a little bit of drop Q1, Q2 was back up, Q3 was right about the same, so I think we're pretty set on that. But that's not growth, right? So, our major expense grows by 4% on the union contracts, that one's staying stable. State aid's about 2.7 million, 9.6% of the total revenue. Same thing, we've had the same state aid number for the last 10 years. Over the last 2 years, we've gotten the AIM payment, but they told us don't budget on that going forward, so. And even that AIM payment's, 300 grand, which is a
Right.
small percentage of what we're talking about in total. So basically, those two are staying stagnant. The tax levy is 15.9 million. And that's about 57% of our revenue, and that's what you guys set here. So we, over the last couple of years, only let that grow by 2%. We could have that grow by 10%, fix it, we could have it grow by nothing, you know what I mean? So, but that's half of our revenue right there that is set by the people at this table. And if we're gonna have that artificially not grow, and you're gonna still have your expenses grow at 4%, you can see how, your revenue is gonna go like this and your expenses are going like this, and that's gonna cross, and you're just gonna go down the wrong road that you wanna go on.
Maybe one-time revenue source, should we have property sales over that? Yeah.
I mean, I would even, so, basically summing up everything, I appreciate that question, but that's not gonna fix it.
No.
You know what I mean? We budgeted for, I think that number is probably actually a little over budgeted.
Well, how many times have we sold Spalding in the last 6 years?
But that's budgetary, right? So it's not actual. So, we budget to sell it, then we don't sell it. So that revenue comes up short, right? Which is
And
bad
that's-
budgetary.
I didn't mean to sound facetious with that, but we've sat here and been told over and over and over again for years. Spalding's totally sold. Yeah. Spalding's totally sold. Spalding, it's never.
How much do we have in outstanding back taxes that people owe us?
So I always talk about the delinquent number, not necessarily what we owe in total. So 23 and older is about 1.3 million. But that number needs to be collected on to prevent future expenses, not necessarily bring in future revenue. Because that sits on our books as a receivable, and we already recognize the revenue into our fund balance. If we don't collect that receivable, then we have to write it off. And so if we don't collect that 1.3 million, then it's a $1.3 million hit to the fund balance. But if we do collect that 1.3 million, it's a net zero because we already recognize the
Right,
revenue.
'cause you already.
The tax levy.
You already put that in there to pay that.
Exactly. We have the revenue.
Pay it forward.
Exactly. And that's why you can recognize the revenue right away when you do a tax. So, if you go to the corporate side of accounting, you can't, you don't book the receivable till you earn the revenue.
So we have people out there that owe us 1.3 million in delinquent taxes that we have to figure out a way to collect them.
We
We
do a foreclosure.
foreclose their house.
We do a foreclosure, yeah.
But
That's how
even
you
if
collect
we-
on them.
Even if we do collect it, that money's.
It's already been recognized. If we don't collect it, we're now. And if we're
write it
down
off.
3 when we write it off, then there's a loss.
Yes.
But you prevent a lot of that by writing it off, because what happens is when we foreclose on them, then you put the house up for auction. And hopefully you sell it for more at auction than what you owe it for, and then you don't have to write the revenue off. Right, yeah. But that's why you wanna try to do the foreclosure sooner than later, because then you don't get the $80,000 balances, you get, half of that, because. you're looking at half a time period that you have left over.
So this is, again, so if someone owns 50,000 back taxes,
Mhm.
you foreclose on their house and they sell it at auction for 200,000.
Yep.
The city gets the whole 200,000.
No.
No, we get the 50 and they get the other 150 change back, right?
So we would get 50, the county's gonna get paid, any debitors are gonna get paid, and then they're gonna get anything that's called surplus, yes.
Well, back to
Those are
that.
terms.
But
And
if
then
you flip that, they owe us 100, now the house only sells for 50, now we gotta write
Right
that
out
50
there,
off.
50.
That's the other side of it too, if the house is back taxes. There could be an assumption.
The longer it goes, the bigger that balance is, the higher you have to sell.
That's sitting there just deteriorating. But looking at the old Board of Education building that deteriorating.
Any of her houses.
Yeah, King Street, there we go.
But that's the idea, is that the longer they sit, the worse condition they get, and the bigger the balance becomes, so you kind of have two factors hurting that. So that's why I would like to run a foreclosure every other year, as a full disclosure on it.
Why don't?
The heavy lift.
That's a heavy
What
lift,
I'm-
yeah. I don't know, we had talked about potentially outsourcing it to some attorneys, and that really didn't go anywhere, because the city attorney said that it was gonna get done, I don't know why the delay has happened, the county seems to get it done. I think the county does it every year,
But what if they pay their county and not their city?
then they'll avoid,
City
they'll
will go after it.
avoid the county foreclosure, correct, that's why a lot of people pay their county tax and they don't pay us, because the county closes every year,
No.
exactly.
So what's our threshold? By years, by?
I would like to go, so in my mind right now, we just started one for 2023, and this might be a little off topic of what this is, I don't know if we're allowed to talk about this or not.
Very
but
important to the budget.
Very
Rocket
It is, but before I divulge, I just wanted
To know
to clear
the-
the air. So my thought process would be, right now, we just closed on everything 23 and older. So through 26, we're gonna run a foreclosure, execute it, have it all go through. And then hopefully by the end of 26, beginning of 27, have that fully wrapped up.
So that money's coming in, their house is.
Right,
sold.
exactly, and then 23 and older will be fully closed up, because once you do the foreclosure, you don't have a receivable for that anymore, because either you get the money or you write it off, because that's, that's how you close out, that's how you close out the previous years, right? So then you would only have, so then in theory, you'd only have 24 and 25 open, right? And anything 23 and older is now closed and done and closed out. So then coming into 27, I would then wait again to October 1st. Because that's when school tax becomes 2 years in arrears, because then you could close 24 and 25 in fall of 27. And then do the same thing, run it through 28, early 29, let it go, and then at the end of, fall of 29. Basically on your odd year, you would start it, on your even year, you would execute it, odd year, you would finish / start the next one. And run on that alternating cycle, so that you would never get into having an $80,000 balance, because, our taxes are high, but you're not gonna run into that on 2 years.
Correct.
A lot of the people that owe the big balances are multiple years of penalties and, owing the city money.
So that money is the progressive rates on mowing lawns and everything else that gets after the taxes that they're,
Correct.
So if we have an empty home, they're not paying the taxes, we're mowing the lawn.
Yeah.
Bill's just running and running, we're not foreclosing.
Right. I mean, the prime example of that would be right here on Niagara Shore.
Yeah,
They're trying to,
that we sold by auction, or we changed.
But it's an empty lot.
but we cut it,
Right, but it's not a home that's.
I think he's
but we
back,
still
what,
cut it,
90,000?
and we're paying a contractor to cut it, and
He's
they're
back
not
about
collecting.
6 figures.
$100,000 property plus how much it costs for us to.
He's probably
So we need to re-foreclose on that property again.
He's part of the 23 one, yeah.
I guess that's it. What services are we willing to have for people? I'm just gonna put it out here for my,
You got another question?
so I don't sleep tonight.
Mike, good job here.
Please, go ahead.
Fund contingency 1989. It's fund contingency contractual EXP. That's got a professional service line of 85,000. 1989-0461.
The professionals, I believe that's like the ones who's on employer costs, or is that?
Fund contingency contractual expenditures. Fund contingency contractual expenditures. It went down 15 from 100, now 85, but why?
Yeah, what's wrong?
Why do contingency contractual expenditures, then it's this one, and professional services line, but it's.
Like that, so that's the contingency, the extra line that's around for when the professional services line goes over. So I mean, you could cut it to zero, but if our professional service line.
Which professional
and,
service line?
I would say, I do have the exact line, hang on, it's further. 1430. Personnel
1430,
administrative,
the one I just asked you for, the one I said I would.
1430-0461
Right,
is 55,000, and then you're looking at 1989-0461, and that's, so there's a contingency built into it, so that if the you know, like the funds go over, same kind of contingency, it's just split into two places,
so 1430's got a $55,000 professional line this year,
right?
and we have a contingency of 85,000 as a backup.
Right. And
So why don't we just combine the two and shrink it, like you put 85 and 55 together, figure it
we
out.
can do that.
We got 140 total, and then just say, so 140, we lower it down to 100,
I mean, that's.
and then take 40,000 out, and there you go, now I'm back up to.
But you're gonna cut the line?
Well, to when I cut the line.
I thought you just wanted to combine them.
Well, I have to, you could just cut the line from 85, you can leave it, you wanna have it two separate places, that's fine, I don't have to help you.
It's
I'm
just
not
like,
the one doing this for a living, but if you're gonna have if you're gonna have two lines, one for 55 and one for 85.
yeah,
Now, we're not combining them. Then why do we have the contingency more than the actual? I'm gonna give you
That's a
$20
fair
for gas in your car,
That's a
but I'm
fair
gonna give you a backup 50 in case you run out of gas.
That's
That
a
doesn't
fair
make
question.
sense.
That's my kid's band.
There you go.
like I said,
Like Uber Eats around here.
like I said, we're building the plan, probably want to pay for 2026 as expenditures, so if you want to combine the lines, that's. That's fine with me, makes my life easier,
Do you want to combine the lines? I mean,
that's fine,
because above it is COVID expenses which haven't been used, it's a contingency.
yeah, that's not even in the.
And then there's the economic community development line for 5,000, what's that go? That's 90,000 total.
I don't think that's really been used in the last couple of years,
Well, went from 20 to 5 down to 5, 20 to 5 to 5.
because it's been inactive.
We have a $90,000 line there, and $55,000 professional services in the other. We zero it out. We need a contingency.
I would leave that. You know,
Yeah,
I like having a contingency, just to have the access, I think at cutting 85,000 to, like I said, we're still gonna be $2.8 million off. So, you know, we can nitpick these lines
Yeah,
for
nitpick.
thousands of
We
dollars,
have
but
to.
we're still in a much bigger. We have much bigger problems to talk about.
Well, my point is here, everyone keeps throwing this number out, 3.4 million over budget, 3.4 million over budget. If we finish this meeting today and people are gonna keep their street lights on and keep their senior center, and we're gonna stay at the tax cap, then we're gonna be at 2.9 or 2.8 million, whatever that is. And then we're gonna go into a brand new administration, 2 new council members, a new mayor, contract negotiations in 26, and we're gonna kick the can to 26, we're gonna survive tonight. That's what I'm looking at, because otherwise Dave's right, either 10.8. Or stop salting the side streets and just tell them to wear snowshoes, like,
Right.
what's their option?
You're kicking stuff down the lane, let's kick the vehicles down. By another year on.
Which lines, tell them which vehicles, show me some vehicles.
Your 201 line, so it's gonna be any of your departments and then it'll be sub 201, so you're looking at. 3120 201, 10 201, I believe, and something, yeah, 3010 201. Let's see, I think those are mainly the diesel lines, everything else is, maintenance of vehicles, more stuff.
And how do we distinguish where it says vehicles? How do we know which ones? Just it's as simple as anything.
Yeah, so maintenance line is gonna be in the 400s, specifically 0442 is gonna be maintenance vehicles, and then 0201 is gonna be your vehicle purchases. And that would be
201s, so okay, so you got police for 96. There's your 9, what's fire got?
While you're looking at this, Adam,
Yep,
I recall a few years ago. Probably 3 years ago now, when we had. There was it funded agency, or what is it, the
trusted
trusting agency? And the former Parks Director has let us know that there was about $40,000 in that
Yeah.
tank. Is that still there, or did that get moved around into the?
No, there's still, so that's set up, it's in a CMO now technically, so that there's a little bit of accounting language, so instead of being a trusted agency, it's custodial maintenance, basically. That's where like a lot of the city cemetery money, the homeless initiative money, that's where it all sits, basically money that the city holds custody of for other uses.
Okay.
By definition of custodial maintenance. I don't know that it's 40 anymore, I think I just pulled that report, it was spoiled by
Okay.
a resident. I would have to look that back up.
No, it's fine, because I just remember that there was,
So there's still some money.
and that has to remain there.
Yeah, cause it's a donation that came in, it's a restricted use donation, basically. So any of the money that was donated to that account was donated with the purpose of parks improvement. I believe at one point it was Vets Park improvement, but then I think there was a determination that it's a parks improvement, that it could be any park, within the city, yes. Same idea that if somebody donates money to the city cemetery, I put it in the city cemetery CMO, and that money is restricted, we can't just take the $100 and spend it however we want.
It's gotta go for the.
Exactly. So
So-
restricted cash.
I'm gonna throw this out there then too, because there is a salary line that we can touch. So that's, and it's ours.
Yeah, I said that before, we paid that.
But
But that is,
that is a voting thing,
Yeah.
that's, you guys would have to decide that next year,
Perfect.
like we can't just.
But so I brought that up before, our salary line is 44,000, it's what, 8,500 out by each, and then 10,000 for the council president.
Correct.
So I said, even if we all took $1,000 pay cut, and then 1,500 on the council president, we go from 8,500 to 7,500, there's 4,000 savings. 1,500 brings it to 5,500. Jim saved more with banquet awards cutting than we would, I'm not opposed to cutting our salary, I would take the first leap to say. I wanna stay at the tax cap, take my salary,
I'm just throwing it,
But-
it doesn't affect me, but
you're talking 5,500, do we do that now, do we cut the line out from 44,000, we can't.
that has to be decided in the.
So the new city council come January 1.
The new council comes in and the president sits down, decides rules of order. Do you remember last
Yeah.
year when Jenna sent out, what, is there anything? you guys wanna
Liaisons, all that
change?
stuff, yeah. Then we decide our salary,
You can,
we can increase it and decrease, right?
January 1, you can also change any budget list as well. Still, so this is.
Yeah, we can still amend all
Right,
throughout
but
the
this
year,
is-
that's what Adam's saying, is if I go crazy on a healthcare line and we're short 200, but he says, then that's the point, what's the point of budgeting then, if we're amending stuff, and we're not setting it now, what's the point of coming back in March and starting amending it? That, right, that's
Exactly.
in a
Right,
nutshell.
we're trying to build a plan. We're trying to plan.
So why do we amend the salaries for the council on January 1, if we don't amend it now during the budget, why would we amend it come January 1, I would amend it now?
I mean, you can amend the salary and then we're just gonna have an excess in that salary, right? And I think if you do amend your salary, you could also pass the budget amendment, you probably right then and there, but you just have the excess in the salary.
You mean after January 1?
Right.
When you end up with 125.
I only found 2 vehicles.
Yeah, I think there is.
That's fine,
I
but
think there is only two, because our bigger vehicles.
What about the-
Because
that,
Parks has
Side
one,
by
but the
side.
biggest that he used, that's in the fire.
Side by sides fire for 29,000 and police vehicles was 96,000 for 2 new cars.
125.
does that
But-
hamstring, the departments?
And does that mean, now we're gonna put another however many thousand miles on these police cars, and now we're gonna sell them again, now we're gonna sell them in 27. And they're not gonna be worth as much, and then now we're gonna be budgeting for more vehicle line in 27. And or does that mean now, these vehicles that are scheduled to be replaced, maybe we haven't put tires on them because we were planning to get rid of them, and now we gotta put tires on. Maybe we haven't done the brakes because we know they're gonna go in April, what I mean, there's not questions I have the answers to, but. There could be a maintenance plan out there for these vehicles that says, okay, we're gonna sell them, why are we gonna put fresh stuff into them? We're getting rid of them in 3 months,
It's a safety issue.
So, I think there's room there to cut it, but I also, if you do cut it, we're kicking it down the road.
Problem I had with the cutting on it. And I love the cut, but they went from 144 last year and 24 was 140, they went from 3 vehicles to 2 vehicles, we brought funds in, we discussed it the last 2 meetings ago, so we already went from 3 down to 2. And I believe, is police chief here? I don't think so.
He's on, he's on.
So the problem is, the way he explained it. You got two patrol cars, if anything, you should be asking, why do they run 24/7, 365, and why we're burning all that fuel? That's a better question to ask. Rather than that's putting your hour meters up and everything else, so that's more of a discussion. For the mayor and the police chief, rather than do we buy them new vehicles? With that being said, I agree with you. You've got these guys, girls screaming down the street in a car and they're hitting a brake that you don't know is gonna, now does that bring us liability? Does that do all that stuff? So.
I
For
I
two-
want nothing more than reliable.
Yeah, for two vehicles down from three, hey. Goes back to your original thing. Do we salt the side streets? Do we go to waste management? What are we doing? Like,
I don't have the answers.
so, oh, it is, I was asking, I'm sorry, since we're still going down this line, because I was digging through the vehicles. So as far as touching, the same thing with the fire, 29,000 for the skater, which has to have all these special lights and crazy stuff. Would we say they're driving a,
So actually on that line too,
Yeah.
20,000 is for the new Gator.
Yeah.
9,000 is for a lease payment on one of the vehicles that we definitely, obviously, we can't cut that. lease
Right.
payment. We gotta make,
But-
I think that might be the last, or maybe there's one
we
more.
were driving a CF Moto side by side from years ago?
Yeah.
Again, Canal Fest. All these different things, the thing breaks down, screwed. Yeah, $4 million budget line, 29,000, but going back to that, I am
back to foot patrols,
fire department patrol.
why not?
So when you break your
first aid.
ankle and
It's
they
first
they
aid.
want them to carry you on foot back to the fire.
That's their problem, not man.
It's your problem, they're the ones gonna be driving you. Especially if it's Jim, if it's me or Jim, take your head again. Okay, so, community parks camera line, 50,000, that was one of the things you brought up when you were saying, so what do we need it for?
So after talking with our IT, it's just putting cameras up around the city.
Continuing to increase it.
Yes,
So-
so
so
roll
we-
the cam overs. And then from my understanding too, there's been some new federal legislation that's passed that there's makes of cameras that you're not allowed to use anymore.
Yeah,
They're
Chinese brand.
Whatever, and some of our cameras are that brand, so I mean, we can continue to operate them, it's just.
Yeah, buy any more.
Can't buy any more of them, and
If
I,
they're
my
replacing-
understanding it could have impacts on whether we can get federal money or not.
If we don't take them out,
Yeah,
we can take them out, but then we just don't have the camera.
correct.
But going forward with that, we were just literally had a discussion about cutting police cars, if it's a feasible option. But now we're gonna have a serious conversation about, we need to continue to increase cameras in the parks.
In downtown,
For 50,000 versus police cars for 96, where if you take, correct me if I'm wrong in this one, we cut the cameras. You might have a little bit harder time solving the crime, you cut the police cars, they might slam into the back of people with bad brakes. So, if you were gonna look to cut 50 grand, I would cut community park cameras, why can't we adjust that line, negative 50,000?
I don't disagree.
Okay, so we on board for that, there's another 50,000 there, we're down to 597,500.
Well, at some point, we're starting to, I'm gonna be circling the drain here pretty soon. But I would like to put this on the head of a pin so that we can start going line by line and saying this is exactly what we are going to be doing.
So what do we got so far?
I'm at 597,500, I wrote the lines down, I didn't write what they were. So the first one was the 475, so that's the retirement contingency, vacation sellout. The 100,000 on the healthcare adjustment, 35,000 on another professional service, I'm sorry, 50,000 on another professional services cut. And then now 50,000 on a 520, 230. 233, 520, 233, 233, minus 50,000, we'll leave the whole line, community parks cameras.
So what do you get about 50,000?
I'm at 597,500. But I'm not gonna disagree with Dave that these people want salt on their side street. They don't, the main roads, they need side roads. They don't need a community park camera.
And we can't go turning off the lights with a raging deer problem. I'm just saying,
I thought deer headlights, that was the thing.
but. I mean, trying to make light of it, but it's not,
Can we pause for a moment? The city attorney's back.
Yes, I was confused. I made an error. It's 4 to override the mayor's veto. It's 3 to pass it.
So we'll pass the budget.
To
It's
pass
three to
the
pass the
budget
budget.
amendment, it's 3. If it's vetoed by the mayor, it's 4.
So tonight,
Pass it, Sean, it's 3.
So we could pass something with 3 if you guys. not. Aggressive, but I mean, if we have a number in mind, I put 10% as a median. We can go less, but I think there has to be something to alleviate that, allocation.
And with taking that,
You don't have four people here to make
what are we
a
at?
good decision.
I'm at 5,500.
No, I don't know, what would the percentage be?
No, high teens.
Yeah. Maybe you're no.
You were at. You were at 13% tax increase if you split the 3.4 million in half. And we saved 1.7 million on savings, 1.7 million tax, to bring up a tax increase, brought you to a 13% tax. increase. So it's actually higher than what you were showing even proposed, and that's only one, and that's still cutting 1.7 million, which we're only at about 600,000. So you still gotta find out 1.1 million. you cut.
1.6%. Okay, 1.6% of the budget.
600?
Yeah. No, yeah. Yeah, there's. I deal in zeros. So you found $600,000.
About 600,000 sitting here doing this for 1,000.
Is there any more off the other amendments, like your others, which you had listed?
Well, we look at 600,000.
Well, I would have went higher on the, in health insurance line, I would have went 775, but Adam's gonna punch me in the face when I go any higher on an amendment. I matched that, went 100,000, Adam's saying if I'd like to go 400,000, split the difference of 775. The agency is already shaking his head out, so if we can't do that, you're not gonna, so right now, we're sitting stale at 600,000. I have no, what I'm gonna propose is this, the 600,000 off, we make these deductions that we've just talked about, delete that 600,000 off. Let the current mayor take this budget for the 2.9 million out of the general fund. Keep the tax cap, keep it at the tax cap. Move on.
Do it.
Yeah, one support, Jim.
I'm willing to accept the 600,000 here, but I'd like to discuss the. Going over the tax debt. I mean, I'd like to make a case for,
What if we went to over the tax cap to farms?
what is that?
1%, at 3.1, so less than 600, we go to about 2.5.
2.5 million out of the general fund, right? So you're 2.5 out of the general.
Because right, well, so on my chart, I was at the 3.
Yeah,
I think that you down to.
So 2.9 million out of the general fund, staying at the cap, 2.5 million out of the general fund, we override with 4%.
At 4%, I have calculated 3.1 hit, so then you found another 600 in.
I mean, I'm just,
Yeah, 2.5.
I'm gonna make an argument for the 5% cost of inflation.
I'm gonna
I
make
don't
it,
think that's unfair. You don't have a vote.
well, that's because you guys are going 3-1, I'm trying to get my 3-1, but my argument is. We've already determined police and fire contracts are up, that you two are not gonna be here to vote on those contracts, it'll be two different council people. We're just trying to get through this year to kick the can to next year, without having the residents sell their house and move because of these huge tax increases. There's room to be negotiated in 26 for 20,000. Let's keep it at the tax cap and let's get it there. We're already ready to cut the 600,000 here. We probably don't need the, unless someone makes a better case for it, or looks for a grant, community parks cameras, that's not, doesn't need to come back for 50 million. What is it, like that's like the hub, there's like some cameras by the vending machines.
Downtown, there's cameras, those cameras are on City Hall here, there's cameras, yeah, exactly, that's Park, I believe, has a couple. They're.
What's these here? It's just like a blue light up camera that's like a very expensive camera in the corner. It's actually coming out of the community parks camera budget, not that
I
court
want
officer
the-
budget.
Yeah,
Court officers don't pay to fortify this with cameras,
they lease the space from us, so
where we required to give them cameras.
before my time when I was here, I don't have the answer for that.
Saying at one point, we had our officers doing the courts at one point, and we went to court officers.
All right, let's move on, let's get this done. So what do we,
My
Calculator, 600,000 cuts.
597,500, I'll read off the lines for you, we can make an amendment to my resolution. Resolution 8. Actually, Actually, it's a little bit more, it's probably gonna be a little bit over 6, I forgot, Dave wants to cut the 1,236. I wanna remove it from the city attorney salary line, because we don't have a city attorney for anybody to negotiate that. You don't wanna add it back to the homeless initiatives, we won't, it'll just be a subtraction. So we'll delete out the homeless initiative, I'm sorry, yes, delete out the homeless initiative ad line, so they'll still stay at their 5. We're just doing sleight of hand trick on the tree, flower, seed, Sandy loan to give the city cemetery the 7. The youth board stays the same at 5,100, because we're just doing, again, sleight of hand trick from salary to the actual youth, this way we actually are giving money to the youth to do these things. And like you said, if they don't want salt in their sidewalk, they want the youth to have projects, then that'll be a conversation for the 26-27 budget, but. Then we'll amend the last line where it says fund A00 expenditure total, mayor to adjust, we delete that, amend it with delete, and then add, and then we add these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 amendments to this. And we leave it as that.
Are we doing this tonight, or are we putting this
Yeah.
forward for next week?
No, this is the thing, yeah.
Alright, so then,
Weekend.
alright, so then we're gonna have to take a pause to get this written.
Mhm. Yeah, we're not gonna be able to verbally amend it, city.
Correct.
We're just if Mario type it up real quick.
The 10 too, right?
What?
So we haven't,
budgets,
believe it or not, we haven't
banquets,
finished going through the agenda.
7,500.
Okay, and well, that's going back to what Jim just said, and for resolution number 10, it should just be combined into resolution number 8. Like, we can do that and delete resolution 10, right, and then just
Correct.
build it, when we amend 8, we'll build 10 into it, that's part of the 7,500, those 2 amended lines. And then, we're there.
That gets us over 700.
No, it's over 6, it's like 6 and change.
I talked to the police chief and I told him I'd fight for that.
I did too, and the only reason I with Jim was because the police and fire awards, city clerk is saying that he sent us the. Verbiage on it from the comptroller's office, that is possibly not a proper, Mike, do you have anything to add on that? The banquets, so resolution number 10, we have a police award banquet line and a fireman award banquet line. We use city funds to pay for those banquets. Did you ever see the email that the city clerk sent regarding the comptroller's ruling?
We
Determining,
have other opinions from the comptroller. There's a couple things. Number one, can't use public funds for alcohol at all.
yeah,
Alcohol is definitely out. Parties are out. But recognition award dinners are allowed through the controller, opinion. So there are some opinions that say it's allowed, that there is a public benefit to it. But outright parties, no. Alcohol, definitely not, no matter what it is.
it always is, and the union pays for the alcohol.
Yeah, but still
So
drinking at the parties.
It's still drinking.
It's still drinking, it's just not, it's funded by the PBA
You know,
or.
as I stated, because you. The police club used to put that banquet on. I can't see anybody having filet mignon. At a banquet, and our citizens are maybe eating mac and cheese. I just can't see it, you know, you got a tap on the back, they make, now God bless the both fire and police, they make quite a bit of money. And we're trying to cut things, I mean, that's just simple, I mean, that's just, I know it isn't much.
I'd rather err on the side of caution. I agree with Jim, and if possible, they can change that from a budget lines through the year.
Yeah, and Dave, I know what you're saying, and I said I was gonna fight for it too, it's definitely a big morale booster for both the agencies. But a minute ago, we're talking about cutting the vehicle line for 96,000 of 2 police vehicles. And we erred on not doing that because of safety and everything, and now we're going, well, we're gonna cut this. That's $7,500 that, like he's saying, the unions can pick up if they need it, or like you said, we can amend it. To add back and we have to pay $1,000 for the actual awards themselves, but was there flaming down there, how was it? Was it cooked well?
I guess it was good the last 2 years ago, I heard it was filet mignon and shrimp, I don't know.
I mean, they deserve it, but.
I'm not saying they don't, but you can't ask to cut all these things and then leave something like this.
I agree, okay.
Just that we've had it over the years, the police club always paid for the bank, always been something with it,
I understand,
you know,
it does make sense, it's just.
I'll take the heat for it,
No, and I go back to like,
probably gonna take it one.
you guys were on, but I'm sure you can sympathize when we had an officer shot. You know, we sat around the table and we said whatever they need, whatever they need to make them whole, whatever they need to make them. You know, feel appreciated, whatever they need, and. That's just sucks.
You know,
But
I'm willing to
reality
move
of-
stuff around. I've already said that, like, you wanna move like
Reality
the
of-
police line, or the police vehicle line, you wanna move it from 96 to 92, and then leave the 4,000 for the banquet, we could do that. And then that would be a net
I
zero,
think that would be up to the chief.
right? But we're,
Let them find the money.
I think we'll let them.
There
Let him
gotta
find
be
out.
money there.
right, well, they did it with we just did it on this, then with the K9 in the vehicle, they had $8,200 overage on the vehicle.
Sure.
And they moved it to the K9, they were projecting $2,000 or $3,000 in the vehicle, we can reinstate it. But as of right now, if we're looking at these cuts,
So let's talk the reality of writing this resolution.
simple.
What do we got, 15 minutes to get it
I think-
typed up?
You think Microsoft Word doc, you just amending feet.
If we take an adjournment for, it's 7:30 right now. If we adjourn our informal meeting with the idea that we're gonna come back at 10 to 8 to get this resolution written. Make sure the verbiage is okay, run it through legal. And then we'll take the floor at 10 to 8.
We'll come back in here, this is new, right? Go around the room. What do I do?
We can do around the room afterwards and we can do it up there.
Just so, I'm just asking, is there no support even out of the three of you on board with that?
I'm enough.
I know you're.
Well, you said three of us, so I think it's.
I want you.
Oh.
Well,
Fine, I wanna add them.
here's the thing, it's a conscious thing. We wanna go home and be able to say we did the right thing.
Right.
They're willing to fight for it next year. I hate to be that blunt.
No, I agree. I think that there should be something.
I think we should be probably, I think we should probably be at about 4.5%.
I like 4 to 5.
Yeah, I think we, in all fairness to everybody, I
I'd say
think,
under, but
I think we should be at 4.5%. That's regionally kind of the average.
I
And I
mean, can we
think
support that in the three of us?
I can support you.
So can we edit that one? Where are we looking to edit the verbiage to make that a total? I say 4.5.
0.5.
Okay.
5.110
5.110.
to work out the exact levy number in this next 20 minutes to get you to that, because I gave you some
Yeah.
numbers, so where it goes, they should do that key points, but yeah, that's the line item as well. Get the line item, make sure it's a 4.5% increase, and we'll discuss that. Resolution, like, make sure this next 20 minutes. as
Yeah,
well.
is that enough time?
Oh, yeah. I got it built into a spreadsheet, so it's just updating a couple of.
And I just like to say going forward for our next mayors, I think I think that this, what we did, this whole exercise for the entire 8 years I've sat here is completely ridiculous. I think that the mayor should go to the department heads and say, this is your budget. This is what you're gonna work on. Not tell me what you're gonna work under and I'll approve it, and then we're the bad people. Mayors, and then we can say, then a mayor could say for his entire term, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna tell you that the first year my taxes are gonna go up 3%, the next year 3.5%, the next year 4%, the next. People can plan for that, people can have the idea that this is what it's gonna go up for the 4 years. Rather than having department heads come to us and say, oh, I need this, I need that. The mayor should be telling them what they're spending. This is not the way to do this.
Just
This
to add
is
that,
100% not the way to do
doing
this.
it at the last minute on the last day. it's not gonna be-
Well, we tried last week.
I
They
understand.
were here a week ago.
I agree,
We
but
also didn't.
letting us sit here and do this, micromanaging departments like this, is not the way to do this.
Well, my argument with that is we get told every council meeting, or almost every council meeting, I manage the day to day. I talk to the departments. Come to me if you wanna talk to the department head. Then it comes budget time, it's like, here you go, you guys figure out what the department.
That's what I mean.
Talk
That's
to
where,
your
that's where
You
the
talk to the
mayor-
liaison, yeah.
that's where the mayor should be going to the department heads and saying, this is what your budget is this year. And then we can say to the residents, over the next 4 years, your taxes are gonna go up 3.5% per year for the next 4 years. Plan on it. This is what it is. Some years, we're gonna go over, we're gonna be over. Some years, we're gonna be under, but that's gonna err on the side of the resident every single time.
Your taxes go up 30%, 30 and 35% in 10 years.
It's probably what it should.
Cost of inflation. Otherwise, you make
All right.
inflation very.
I'm gonna shut up.
why,
Right.
I have to go to the back.
Yes, it's 4 minutes.
I make a motion to adjourn, so,
And 4 minutes on. We will,
I make a motion to adjourn at 8 p.m. We can meet at 8 p.m.
second, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Informal meetings that are.
I'm ready when you are, sir.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
So just informally, before we begin, I just wanted to kind of thank everybody who's stuck this out tonight. Usually everybody vamooses at about 8 o'clock. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for listening to us back there. And thank you to the council for everything that we just went through this evening to do what I think is fair. So with that, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Teasley,
Here.
Fisher,
Here.
Roundstraw,
Here.
Mylum,
Here, please stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag and one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Okay, please be seated. I'm also going to ask the audience for a little bit of grace tonight, as my chair just went out from under me. I'm working off of 3 different agendas. One of them's handwritten, one of them's still hot off the press. So this is going to be kind of a back and forth. So right now, it looks like the communications have all been ordered and filed. We originally had a Veteran of the Month that has been postponed. So before we get started, we'll take comments by the public on the resolutions. You're going to come up to the microphone. Please state your name and address. This is comments on the resolutions.
Good evening, council. My name is Timothy Piano. I'm a resident of the city of Tonawanda. Tonight, I want to speak not just about next year's budget, but about the long-term economic health of our city. Tonawanda cannot grow, attract families, or strengthen its tax base if we continue weakening the public services that support stability and quality of life. When we underfund essential services, police, fire, DPW, infrastructure, parks, programs for seniors and families, we create a cycle that harms our local economy. Declining services lead to declining property values, deferred maintenance turns into expensive emergency repairs. And a city that looks like it's shrinking will struggle to attract businesses, new homeowners, and young families. A modest, well-planned tax increase is not a burden, it's an investment. Cities that maintain strong services see higher property values, more stable neighborhoods, and greater long-term revenue. Cutting services to avoid raising taxes only shifts the cost to residents later at a much higher price. We should aim to be a city that plans ahead, protects its assets, and makes decisions that strengthen our economy for the next decade, not just the next fiscal year. Tonawanda deserves a strategic financial approach that supports growth, safety, and community value. I urge the council to prioritize the long-term economic health of the city of Tonawanda by maintaining essential services and ensuring we generate the revenue necessary to protect our future. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Very well said. Anybody else? Comments from the? How about online, Mr. Clerk? Anybody wishing to speak online, Mr. Clerk? Mr. Clerk, can you hear us?
Sorry about that. I had it on mute because I had one adjustment I was making with the treasurer. There is one person that appears to want to speak. Do you want me to have them type their question and or comment, or do you want me to see if I can synchronize their volume with the volume we have?
I'm gonna err on the side of whatever is easier for you.
Well, let me try to turn this person's volume on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Samantha, could you state your full name and your address if possible for the
Yep.
record?
My name is Samantha Roloff. I live at 303 Fillmore Ave.
Thank you so much. Council, can you hear the volume?
Yes.
Okay, Samantha, go ahead with your question and or comment.
I guess I just have a question, and I am a young person in the city of Tonawanda who's just recently bought a home here. And I guess for the council, my questions and comment is, when the reassessment happened, and I know that we're talking a couple years ago, I experienced in the home that I bought about a 250% tax increase when the reassessment happened. So to me, as a young person who's trying to build a family in the city, any kind of tax increase is detrimental to my financial health. So that's why I'm trying to kind of come to these meetings and learn a little bit more. And I don't have a lot of knowledge on city budgets and all of that. And I'll be honest through that and transparent. But it just seems to me that, like, for young families trying to build in the city, especially at the year I bought my home, it's just a more of a kick than I've been able to catch up on. So how do we mend that, and how do we continue to invite younger families? That's the people I represent in my community, and try and keep it inviting for younger families to build here, because at this rate, it's not something that's possible, at least for me, you know?
Yes, from what we heard of your comment, I don't know, I think we heard about the first 10%, maybe the last couple minutes of it. So I don't know. I think what this budget is doing is a very happy medium. It retains services. It retains things for people to do. Not only, out in the community, but it allows our safety providers and our DPW to maintain the services that people are used to in the city. My hope is that in the coming years, we can continue to do that. Thank you for your comment. Is there anybody else wishing to speak on the resolution?
Yes. Let me see if I can. I'm granting someone permission to unmute, but it looks like they're staying muted. There's an M. Saltaire. That appeared to want to make a comment.
I'm gonna go with the 30-second rule. If we don't hear from them, then we're gonna move on.
There's one other person. There's someone listed as Bob, so I'll try them. Give me 1 minute. So just to be clear, I'm clicking on the ask to unmute for the person listed as Bob and waiting to see if, like Samantha, they would unmute themselves, but I haven't had a response yet.
Okay. How about the one previous?
No response, and they may have been saying yes to something else in the chat. So
Okay.
maybe they don't want to speak. There'll be another opportunity, of course, for residents to speak after the resolutions. So if we didn't reach anyone online, before the resolutions, we can reach you afterwards and allow you to
Correct.
speak.
So in the interest of time, we're gonna move on to the resolutions. And this is where I'm working off of two different. So resolution number 1,
Sponsored by Councilmember Rautenstrau.
thank you. I guess I'm working off of 3 of them. Sponsored by Councilmember Rautenstrau. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Sheasley. Please read the resolution.
Resolved that the Common Council minutes from November 4th, 2025 be accepted as filed.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Sheasley.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Rautenstrau.
Aye.
Mylum.
Aye, declare it adopted. Resolution number 2, sponsored by Councilmember Sheasley.
Easily.
Do we have a second?
I'll say.
Second by Mr. Rautenstrau.
Resolved that the bills be allowed as audited.
Comments, questions? Please call the roll.
Sheasley.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Rautenstrau. Mylum.
Aye. Declare the resolution adopted. Resolution number 3, sponsored by Councilmember Rautenstrau. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Fisher. Please read the resolution.
Yes, sir. Resolved that the Common Council authorizes and approves the sales of 18 surplus items of city equipment, vehicles conducted online by Auctions International, surplus auction number 44897, totaling approximately $15,535 per the report attached hereto and made a part hereof.
Anybody have any questions on this? Please call the roll.
Beasley.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Rautenstrau.
Aye.
Mylum.
Aye. Declare the resolution adopted. Resolution number 4, sponsored by Councilmember Sheasley. Do we have a second? Seconded by Mr. Fisher. Please read the resolution.
Whereas the city of Tonawanda desires to sell a piece of city-owned real estate commonly known as 445 Ellicott Creek, Tonawanda, New York 14150. And whereas the Common Council has determined that the subject property commonly known as 445 Ellicott Creek and is no longer required for public use, and whereas the Common Council has determined that it is in the best interest of the city to sell said property and restore it to the tax rolls to generate revenue, and whereas the Common Council has determined that it is in the best interest of the city of Tonawanda to sell the aforementioned city-owned property directly to Luke Topolsky for the sum of $20,000, and whereas the Common Council, pursuant to the City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 102, Administration, Article 1, in general, Section 102-1F, has published in the official newspaper in the city of Tonawanda once a week for 3 consecutive weeks its intention to act on this resolution. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Common Council hereby authorizes and directs Mayor John L. White to execute a direct sale contract for the subject property commonly known as 445 Ellicott Creek to Luke Topolsky for the sum of $20,000.
Comments, questions? Please call the roll.
Beasley.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Rautenstrau.
Aye.
Mylum.
Aye. Declare the resolution adopted. This resolution number 5 was originally sponsored by Council President Cook. In her absence tonight, because she's not here to sponsor that, we changed it to the council is going to sponsor it and the council is going to second it. Please read the resolution.
Resolved that the Tonawanda Common Council hereby authorizes and appropriates a minimum of 50% local match as required by the New York State Canal Corporation and Erie Canal National Heritage Corridors Tourism Infrastructure and Amenity Support Grant Program for the restroom renovation project at the East Niagara Athletic Field. The total project cost is $21,725, with the city of Tonawanda providing $14,000 in-kind services as the local match. The city is requesting $7,725 in grant funding to cover the cost of materials. Further resolved that John White, as mayor of the city of Tonawanda, is hereby authorized and directed to file an electronic grant application for funds in accordance with the endorsement standards and guidelines set forth by the New York State Canal Corporation and Erie Canal Way National Heritage Corridor, and to execute all financial and administrative actions related to the city's application for the restroom renovation project under the Tourism Infrastructure and Amenity Support Grant Program.
Thank you. Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Sheasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Rounstraw,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye. Declare the resolution adopted. Resolution 6, sponsored by myself. Do I have a second? Mr. Fisher? Please read the resolution.
resolved that the 2025 general fund operating budget be amended by the Common Council during the November 18th, 2025 council meeting to transfer $8,200 from the police vehicle line A00-3120-0201-0000 to the animal warden salary line A00-3510-0100-0000 and animal warden professional services line A00-3510-0461-0000 to cover unexpected additional costs and services incurred due to the closure of the city's previous kennel services. Account description adjustment A00-3120-0201-0000 vehicles, subtract $8,200. Line A00-3510-0100-0000 salaries, add $3,200. Line A00-3510-0461-0000 professional services, add $5,000. Net budget effect, none.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Sheasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye. Declare the resolution adopted. Bless you. 3 times. Resolution 7, sponsored by Councilmember Fisher, seconded by Councilmember Rautenstrau. Please read the resolution.
Whereas traffic traveling northbound and southbound on Highland Avenue at the intersections of Lepiers Drive and Summit Street do not have stop signs, and whereas traffic traveling east on Lepiers Drive has a stop sign at Highland Avenue, but no information regarding traffic flowing north and south on Highland Avenue. And whereas traffic traveling west on Summit Street has a stop sign at Highland Avenue, but no information regarding traffic flowing north and south on Highland Avenue, whereas the installation of informational signs do not require an ordinance or charter revision change. Now therefore, be it resolved, the Common Council approves the Department of Public Works Signal Division to make and install 2 informational signs that state cross traffic does not stop, that are in compliance with all applicable New York State and Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices laws, and affix such signs below the stop sign at each location. And be it further resolved, these 2 signs will be acquired from the 2025 budget line number A00-3310-0430-0000 traffic signs.
Comments, or questions? Mr. Fisher?
Comment from myself after, for those who attended the informal, after talking with the DPW superintendent, these signs may already be in existence in surplus, so there would be no cost to the city. And then I comment on behalf of the residents of 72 Highland, Mark and Kim Cromwell. Hi, Chris. Approximately 10 to 14 days ago, my husband was driving down Highland Ave toward our home at 72 Highland, corner of Highland and Queen Street from Tussing Lane. On 2 separate occasions in the same week, a vehicle either did a rolling stop or blew through the stop signs on Summit and Highland / Lapeers and Highland. One of these vehicles was a school bus, hopefully not full of kids. Had either of these vehicles made contact with my husband's vehicle, especially the bus, my husband could have been killed. There are multiple areas within the city of Tonawanda that a police officer could sit and ticket people and generate copious amounts of money for the city. This happens to be one of them. We have lived in our home for 16 years, and the issue at this intersection is a daily occurrence. I do not understand why anyone would oppose the placement of signs on Summit and Lapeers that could potentially prevent a tragedy. It would be an awful situation if a child was trying to cross there and was hit by a car. If you require any additional information, please feel free to contact us at 716, phone number redacted, or 716, phone number redacted. Thank you for all you do for the residents of our ward, Mark and Kim Cromwell.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher.
This letter was also filed with the city clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Any additional comments or questions? Call the roll.
Teasley,
Nay.
Fisher,
Aye.
Rounstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye, declare the resolution adopted. Now, this is where it's gonna get a little, I'm gonna need some help from legal, I think. So we're moving on to resolution 8.
yes, but first we'll be striking resolution 10.
So do I have a motion to strike resolution 10 from the original agenda? Motion by Councilmember Rautenstrau, a second by Mr. Sheasley. Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Teasley.
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Rounstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye, declare the resolution adopted. Just for transparency, resolution 10 on the original agenda was the one that was from Councilmember Sheasley talking about the banquet awards for police and fire. Okay, now, I have to make a motion to what is it here? Amend resolution number 8.
8.
Do I have a motion to,
I make a motion to amend resolution number 8 and add further subtractions and deletions as read by the city clerk.
do I have a second?
Second.
Fisher? Oh, sorry, Sheasley. Okay, seconded by Mr. Sheasley. Okay, Mr. Clerk, it's on you. Let's read it.
Should I call the roll for the voting? on
Yes,
the
call it and
amendment?
then, yes, I'm sorry.
Or should I read it first and then call for the vote?
Read what we're voting on for the.
Read it first.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Whereas the mayor presented the 2026 general fund budget on October 7th, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved that the 2026 budget as presented by the mayor be adopted with the following amendments and revisions to restore $598,736.30 to the reserve fund. Be it further resolved that the 2026 general fund budget be amended as follows. Account description adjustment. A00-1355-0462-0000 reassessment project expenses, subtract $90,000. A00-7320-0100-0000 youth board salaries, subtract $5,100. Create new line A00-7320-0420-0000 youth board athletic equipment, add $5,100. A00-7320-0000 -7020-0412-0000. Trees, flowers, seed, subtract $1,000. A0-7020-0425-0000. Sandy loam and topsoil, subtract $1,000. A0-5020-0217-0000. City Cemetery Capital Project, add $2,000. A0-1420-0100-0000. City Attorney salaries, subtract $1,236.30. A0-3120-0477-000. Police Awards Banquet, subtract $4,000. A0-3410-0410-000. Fireman Awards, subtract $3,500. A0-1430-0100-0000. Retirement costs, subtract $300,000. A0-1989-0461-0000. Professional services, subtract $50,000. A0-5020-0233-0000. Community Parks cameras, subtract $50,000. A0-9060-0800-0000. Hospital insurance, subtract $100,000. Net budget impact, subtract $598,736.30.
Comments or questions on the amendment?
Question on the amendment. City Clerk, on the second paragraph, now therefore be it resolved that the 2026 budget as presented by the mayor be adopted with the following amendment to restore. You read 598,736.30. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's
Yep,
that's
I
a
know.
correction by the treasurer that when we were writing this, council member, we didn't adjust that.
That is correct.
So the net budget effect
Language of your amendment
is
for-
reflected in it's reflected in two places. It's reflected in, as with all the other amendments, it's reflected at the end, the 598,736.30, as well as in the second paragraph.
Yes, okay, just want to ensure that. Also, next to the amendment, on the bottom for Police Award Banquet, Fireman Award Banquet, there should be a fourth zero after the bank of 3 zeros on the end, correct, Jim?
Yes.
Okay, if you could add part of that amendment to read A00-3120-0477-0000, and then the line below it, A00-3410-0410-0000. You could add those extra zeros, please.
I've corrected that on my copy that we'll use for the transcription.
I would like it on the record, though, for further litigation. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but do we read the entire thing again, correct?
You need
Yeah.
to vote on the amendment.
So we're gonna take a vote on the amendment. Please call the roll.
Sheasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye. Declare the amendment adopted?
yes.
Yeah.
Now
Okay,
to vote on the resolution.
okay. Now we need to read that resolution in its entirety again, correct? Okay,
I might make a motion to waive the reading of resolution number 8.
second.
Beasley,
She's,
Fisher,
Aye.
Rounstrau,
Hey.
Mylum.
aye. Declare the reading of number 8 again adopted. Okay, we can move on to resolution 9, correct?
Still an eight.
Need to vote on passing the resolution. even though
Okay,
we waived the reading, correct? So
okay.
it's sponsored by Councilmember Fisher. Is there a second?
Second that.
Seconded by Councilmember Rautenstrau. Please call the roll.
Beasley,
Questions or comments?
Do you have comments?
I put comment on it. I appreciate everyone who sat through this. It's almost 9 o'clock at night. Thank you for sticking through it to see the cuts. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Just a quick comment. I just wanted to say thank you to all the council members for having a discussion about this, coming up to a reasonable compromise. A lot of due diligence. I'm glad it got. So thank you all for having a reasonable discussion.
Thank you. Anybody else? Now, please call the roll.
thank you. Beasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Rounstrau,
Aye.
Mylum.
Aye, declare the resolution adopted. Okay, now we need to move on to resolution number 9. Just sponsored by Councilmember Rautenstrau.
And there are amendments to 9,
Correct.
so we need to vote on the amendments first. And
So
then
I'm moving to amend resolution 9, substituting the resolution with a new rate of 4.5% total tax levy increase proposed in the workshop. And it now reads as follows. Please read the resolution.
whereas the continued depletion of the city's unassigned fund balance through annual appropriations is not sustainable a sustainable fiscal practice and does not adequately address the imbalance between reoccurring expenses and reoccurring revenue. And whereas the mayor's proposed budget includes an appropriation from the unassigned fund balance that, if executed, may reduce the unassigned fund balance to a level below the city's fund balance policy requirement to maintain unexpended surplus funds of not less than 16%, 2 months of operating expenses. And whereas the ongoing reliance on unassigned fund balance obscures the structural shortfall between the city's recurring expenditures and the recurring revenue necessary to support essential municipal operations. And whereas it is the duty of the Common Council to ensure long-term fiscal stability, solvency, and responsible stewardship of taxpayer dollars, and to take corrective action when recurring revenues do not meet the city's recurring obligations. And whereas increasing the tax rate is a necessary and responsible corrective measure to reduce the dependence on reserves, close the structural gap, and restore the city to a sustainable financial trajectory. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Common Council hereby amends the mayor's proposed budget to increase recurring revenue by adjusting the property tax levy to $16,252,698, representing a 4.5 total tax levy increase for the purpose of reducing reliance on fund balance appropriations and preserving the fund balance at or above the policy mandated level. Be it further resolved that this Common Council adopt the general fund, water fund, and sewer fund operating budgets for the fiscal year commencing January 1, 2026, making appropriations to conduct city government. And be it further resolved that the budgets that were presented at a public hearing on October 28, 2025 are hereby adopted as amended and revised, and that the several amounts as set forth be and are hereby appropriated for the objects and purposes specified in the 2026 operating budgets. Total general fund budget, property tax levy, $16,252,698. Taxable assessment, subject to change, $1,213,786,624. property tax rate per thousand taxable assessed valuation 13.390078, subject to change. Total sewer fund budget $2,684,518, with a rate of $6.50 per thousand gallons and a minimum usage of 40,000 gallons. Be it further resolved that this amendment is adopted in the interest of transparency, fiscal responsibility, and the long-term financial health of the city of Tonawanda.
Thank you. Please call the roll on the amendment for resolution number 9.
Sheasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Nay.
Rounstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye. Declare the amendment adopted. I'm gonna make a motion that we don't have the rereading of this amendment or this resolution. Seconded by Mr. Rounstrau. Thank you. Now, please call the roll on this resolution. Oh, it would, yeah,
on waiving the reading.
I'm waiving the reading. Do we all agree?
Sheasley,
Please call the roll.
Aye.
Fisher,
Nay.
Rounstrau, Mylum,
Aye. Declare the reading waived. Now, let's call the roll on this vote, on this resolution.
Comment.
Comment?
I think we shouldn't go over the tax cap. You're talking 400,000. We were gonna pull 2.9 million out of the general fund. You're raising taxes 4.5. We're gonna pull 2.5 million out of the general fund. Why go over the tax cap? This is why we overrid the tax cap months ago, was to get this. This is what this is. I think it's a waste. We should have just left it at the tax cap. So.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Anybody else? Please call the roll.
Sheasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Nay.
Rounstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye, declare the resolution adopted. We're not going into executive session. We will now take comments from the public following the resolutions. Anybody online wishing, is Bob or Mr. whoever back and wishing to speak?
not that I don't see anyone who's raised their hand or has asked to speak.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sheasley. Oh, sorry, we have a comment on the floor.
Say the cops from smells like thin socks wrapped in taco meat.
Oh, thank you. There isn't a budget line for that.
But it cut it if it was.
No, it's a long, arduous process. Everybody's got an idea, but we beat our heads. Our best with evidence, and it's tough. It's tough for next year and following year, because the last 3-4 years, I think the budget sucked. I think the budget sucked in the past, that we should have raised a little bit. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Sheasley. Mr. Fisher.
This week's Chris Fisher give back went to the Vietnam Veterans Chapter 77 Food Pantry. I want to acknowledge Councilmember Schlesly, Mylum, Judge Lilac, and Mayor-elect Strasburg for joining with me on Veterans Day to honor our veterans. Got a whole list of stuff here, but the mayor didn't show up, so a lot of it's a moot point. I'll save it for next time. I'd also like to say congratulations to firefighters Haskell and Malley that were promoted. Congratulations to both of them. It wasn't our fault. None of the council members showed up to it. We weren't notified. It goes back to transparency in this administration. They don't hit the CC button on an email. I'm the fire liaison. I didn't get a text, a tweet, nothing. No idea what was even going on. And they held it on election day. So most of us were off to even attend it had we been notified.
Oh, thank you.
The social experiment of trying to run the city like a business is now over. We're not a business. If we were a business, we'd have competition. Competition would create efficiency and growth. Because we're a government, we don't have competition. No one else will come in and compete against us. So now the voters have spoken, and we're going to get back to governing the government. I welcome Chief Bill as the new mayor-elect. I look forward to working with the new mayor along with the other members of the council I look forward to see who he appoints as an administrative assistant. We look forward to having some great accomplishments in 26 and 27. It's an exciting time for Tonawanda. We're going to emerge, and we're going to grow. I look forward to the next 2 years will bring. But for full transparency, and you're going to see as the next 2 years go on, for example, Bill and I are already having a disagreement on government, but that's okay. Government's supposed to discuss, and we're supposed to have resolutions that are best for the community. But the incoming mayor disagrees with breaking city residency for employees. I say everything's up for negotiations. Now, the vibe that we're getting from the unions is they don't want to do givebacks for the right to break residency. But that makes sense because most notably, the ones who don't want to move out don't want to give givebacks for the ones who do want to give out. So what's fair? What's fair for the ones that want to leave? What's fair for the ones that want to stay? What's fair for the taxpayers and what's fair for all the residents? So once the new council is seated, I won't put up a resolution until after the new council is seated for this particular matter, that I want to propose a resolution that will instruct that whoever the new mayor appoints as the city attorney to have the referendum written and filed for the November 2026 ballot for the residents to decide the residency issue. No givebacks, no mayor, no council negotiations, not in collective bargaining. Let the voters of the city of Tonawanda decide. They're the true bosses of this city. Let's let the voters decide. I'd also like to say, as a parent and active member of the community involving youth, I would like to see the natural playground down in Niawanda, right next to Bob Gregg Grove. I've been to a few natural playgrounds. My favorite's in Erie, PA. They have one over at Presque Isle. Lindy Jelski has partnered with COT United and Amanda Shepler to get grants to make this happen. Again, we're going to get a new mayor. We're going to have new ideas. We're going to have a new direction for Tonawanda. I'm going to get a resolution together designating the space in preparation of a high-end natural playground over on Niawanda between Wheeler and Franklin. But I'm going to do this, when I write this resolution, you guys will still be on the council. There's going to be 2 caveats to that. No cost to the city to build such playground, and the designation of that area will be contingent upon a grant for funding, a donor, or some source of income that will not be the city. But when you got someone like Lindsay who's passionate about this for this long, it shows her determination, her grit. She's been advocating for this for at least 3 years that I know, since before my time on the council. So now's the time to get it done. Thank everyone for attending tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Mr. Roxburgh.
First, I'd like to thank Dave, for carrying on this meeting well, for taking the lead as the acting council president. Not only this time, but every time, through your terms. You've done a great job, but you kept us in order, and you really kept us together. So I just want to say
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Again, thank you to the council for working together. I'm coming up with a resolution to make some cuts. I understand where Councilman Fisher is coming from on the tax cap. Admittedly, I think we need to split that more with residents, or we may need to make larger cuts. But I think we came to a fair and reasonable compromise. I appreciate everybody working together. And thank you, Adam, not only for your help in creating resolutions, but thank you also for making changes on the fly today to get through this meeting. And lastly, we'll probably have more to say in regards to the budget and the taxes and how we need to grow as a city. And the fact that we had to, there's costs associated for the city. There's cost to running this government. But Mr. Priano, I think, summed it up very well. I just want to say thank you for speaking up. And won't belabor the point and keep anybody here any longer. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. I'd like to first thank the legal team for helping me get through this, and thank you to everybody else for helping me get through this, and thank you for not laughing. I'd also like to thank the treasurer for your assistance tonight. Your insight was hugely important, and I think it helped drive where we ended up. Thank you to the residents for staying here tonight. We're doing this on behalf of you, and I hope that, excuse me, our decisions reflect that. I do want to send some well wishes to our council president. Hope she's feeling better this evening. And I just want to say it's very difficult to be up here and do this when, when, you know, you guys get to use hindsight to judge our decisions in real time. So thank you guys for, you know, just being what you are and sticking up for what you believe in. And I'd like to thank the residents for all of your input and for all of your harsh criticism, because I think it makes everybody better. It's when the harsh criticism crosses the line and becomes personal that stuff's gotta end. So I just want to thank you all for being here and thank you for listening to this. We are gonna go into the back. Oh, no, we're gonna stay here. We're gonna stay up here to
Around
do
the room
a
here,
quick
yeah.
around the room after we formally adjourn. I'm hoping we're gonna be out very shortly, so you're welcome to stay. So make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Fisher. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned at 8:54. And let's begin with around the room. And Mr. Fisher, I'll start with you.
See if Chip, you got anything?
No, I've got nothing.
Okay, so I had three things. I touched on the natural playground. I do want to put that up before the first of the year. There's no reason why we can't have that in place so the COT United, Amanda Shepler and Lindsay can start looking for that funding. So when they do secure that funding or find that funding, they can approach the new mayor and say, this is what we have. So is that, before I waste my time writing it up, is that something you guys would support?
That.
Something we can support? Okay, so I'll get that written up for the future. The cross street signs, we addressed that. That was on the resolution, but I had the picture. That was for the round the room, but we didn't do that. And the last one was, one of the things that was discussed was residency waivers. And that's why I've been harping on the residency, why it has to be a referendum. You know, if we give individual waivers, do we give them to a certain department? Can they be pulled by a future mayor? Not even the next incoming mayor, but the mayor after that. You know, imagine selling your house, you move to another municipality, whatever you do for a living for the city, and then that gets pulled. So that needs to be in concrete. But the problem with that is if we put that in concrete, we as a council, we're a pass-through vote to the residents. Residents elect us, and then we tell them what they're going to get, right? So what's the give back? And I was all about the give backs, as I said it before. But the problem is, like when you talk, I use the police department as an example, just in speaking with them in passing, some have said, I have no intention on leaving. So why should I give back, fill in the blank, whatever the give back is? Why should I give it back? I'm not leaving. So I said, yeah, that makes sense. So how do you do it? I believe the referendum to let the residents decide, let them decide where do they want their employees to live, whether there's a recruitment issue so they can go outside the area. Should it be a radius such as 10 miles? Imagine if it was a countywide radius. Let's just say countywide. You could live in Springville, but you couldn't live in North Tonawanda. How does that make any sense? So these are all great questions that the residents should decide. So that's why I would like to see, once we sit the new council and we get whoever gets appointed city attorney by the new mayor, to have that looked at, to put up. Now that's got to pass two parts, right? It's got to pass. So as I put up a resolution instructing the city attorney to do such a referendum on the thing. And if the sitting council says, no, we're not going to support it, then the resolution would die. But assuming the resolution passed and they directed the city attorney would then put that referendum on the November 26th ballot. And then it would just be up to whoever wanted to campaign for or against it to bring that to the light to the taxpayers. So that's where my thought process is on that. So that's all I have for around the room. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Fisher. You're good? I have nothing either. Thanks for coming.
Great job there, Mr. Myers. Great job, Fisher.
Thank you. I like the no vote on the signs. What are you gonna do?
It is. We're gonna feel.
But I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you voted no. And instead of just saying, I'm gonna vote yes because it's something, I'm glad you did